What is up, full-time family? We are 1 minute late, but it's all good in the neighborhood because it's only 1 minute. Let me get this light on, and we're ready. We got the studio light. Boom, bang. Wannabe studio light, but it'll do. All right, family. What are we? Like 1 minute late? It's all good. We got some UFC to talk. We got the wrong screen. We got to move this over here. Sorry, family. We're handling some stuff. We got... Oh shit, they're already fucking fighting downstairs. We got some family fighting downstairs and shit, but it is what it is. We're gonna try and get through this show without any distractions. But we got a lot of stuff coming up though. Alright, full-time family, we'll see how this goes. We will see how this goes. I got a bad feeling about today and today's live stream because it sounds like it's going downstairs. But we're gonna try and get through this as fast as possible. We got quite a few things to talk about, but the most important thing that I want to talk about today is all of these fighters being accused of ducking, and I see where it comes from. You know what I'm saying? I ain't mad because I see why people are saying it. But for me personally, especially now that I have a YouTube channel and I talk about MMA, I like to be sure or pretty sure that a fighter's ducking before you really come out and say, oh, that professional fighter is ducking another guy. It's like, a lot of the times it's fans saying stuff like this because they hear one side of a story and they don't wait to hear the whole side, right? So there's a few names that I actually put in the title that are the most prevalent names when you hear about ducking, right? You hear Gustafsson most recently. People feel like he was ducking Anthony Smith after he pulled out of the fight. Demetrius Johnson is a name you hear a lot about. People feel like he's ducking TJ Dillashaw at a heavier weight class. Another guy, Brian Ortega, recently. He didn't take the short notice fight against Jeremy Stevens. There came the word ducking. Another time, fucking Tyron Woodley. Oh, he didn't take the short notice fight with Darren Till whenever Colby Covington had the injury that none of us knew about. Tyron Woodley's ducking. So there's just multiple fighters that people like to say are ducking, and I got to refute that because a lot of the case, in every single one of these cases, it usually doesn't end up being about the matchmaking. It's not the opponent. They're not ducking some guy. They're usually ducking for a bigger payday, and I promise, every situation we go over, all four of those names, plus Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier is a guy who came out and kind of called out Gustafsson for turning down this short notice fight. But, and as much of a fan of Daniel Cormier I am, there's a lot of people that feel like DC should be potentially rematching Stipe. They feel like he's ducking that. And I'm not saying that's the case because I'm looking at both sides. But that's also why I say Gustafsson's not ducking in this situation if he wants a title fight. You know, Darren Till, he's a guy, you know, he came out and made it seem like Tyron Woodley was ducking Colby Covington. You could turn the gun on the other foot, you know, put the gun in the rabbit's hand and say, okay, well then why don't you fight Kamaru Usman, Darren Till? So, you know, people will say Tyron Woodley is ducking Darren Till, but then how quick are you to say Darren Till is ducking Kamaru Usman? Because Darren Till has said he'll fight Usman, but there's been now, this is the second time both of them are healthy and they're not fighting. Before Darren Till had Wonderboy as an opponent, Darren Till was booked to headline UFC Liverpool. We didn't know who his opponent was going to be. They were looking for one. There was talks of Santiago Ponzinibbio. I mean, we all wanted to see Wonderboy, but there was no guarantee. One guy that was open to fight, Kamaru Usman. And so it looked like the UFC had other plans for Darren Till, so we never got to see that fight. Well, now Darren Till's coming out. He's saying he's healthy enough to fight Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley accept the fight. Guess who else is healthy again? Kamaru Usman. So, you know, I just find it interesting how people will use what Daniel Cormier and Darren Till are saying to accuse these other fighters of ducking, when you could literally say that about a lot of any fighter that doesn't take the first fight that's given to them. You could say it's ducking. Now, is that always the case? No, because this isn't fucking high school. This isn't the backyard where it's like, oh, you don't want to fight him. Haha, you're scared. There's millions of dollars on the line. This is a business now, and a lot of people don't like hearing about the business of the sport whenever it comes to a fighter. Whenever a fighter's like, I don't want to fight that guy, this is a business decision, people say, you're scared. But whenever the UFC makes a business decision, you don't hear that shit. Whenever CM Punk is on the pay-per-view, you hear a little gripe, but you know what the answer is? It's a business decision. Whenever Alistair Overeem sells as many pay-per-views as fucking CM Punk, then we can talk about who's on the pay-per-view. Okay, so let's say Tyron Woodley. How about he says it's a Darren Till? Whenever Darren Till sells as many pay-per-views as Colby Covington, we can talk. It's a business decision when you look at it that way. Demetrius Johnson, the fact that he's not fighting TJ Dillashaw. A lot of people say, oh, you're scared of going up and fighting the heavier guy. For one, it's a heavier guy at a heavier weight class, and for two, Demetrius Johnson has been pretty consistent in saying, I just want paid for the thing. I could either fight here for the same amount, or I can move up in what everyone's telling me is a super fight and fight for the same amount of money. If you guys all feel like it's a super fight, how about you pay me to fight? And so a lot of the times, these fighters that get accused of ducking are literally telling you guys, this is a business decision. This is about the money. And people don't like that excuse when it comes from a fighter. So I think that's kind of unfortunate because, like I said, Brian Ortega, Tyron Woodley, Alexander Gustafsson, Demetrius Johnson, they've all shown their skills. They really shouldn't have anything left to prove as far as, are you scared to fight another man? These guys are professional fighters fighting in the UFC. So it's kind of funny when a lot of the fans that aren't fighting in the UFC accuse these guys of ducking. Now, with that being said, sometimes it will look like a fighter's ducking, especially in this recent situation with Brian Ortega, right? I mean, he came out and said, listen, I want the title fight, and especially with the value of interim titles as of late, I don't just want to fight a guy on short notice just because that's what people want to see. I'm not just fighting because that's what people want to see anymore. This is people's business, their livelihood. And not only are some of these guys fighting to feed themselves and their families, but some of them have even bigger causes. Like Brian Ortega, the Brian Ortega Foundation. He's not just trying to do it for himself. He's trying to do it for a lot of underprivileged kids, that whoever he's helping with his foundation as well. How's he going to get the most money to help the world in the most positive way, the most people? That's also going to be coming for the bigger fights. So a lot of these times when people say these fighters are ducking, that's 99% that's not the case. Now, maybe there's a rare situation out of all of these names that have came up in ducking. I'll go through the list. People say Woodley's ducked, Brian Ortega, Alexander Gustafsson, Demetrius Johnson, Daniel Cormier, Darren Till. All of these fighters that are getting accused of ducking, Amanda Nunes. There's only one that I kind of feel like it's okay, and that's the Amanda Nunes situation. Amanda Nunes is the only one that I feel like is sort of ducking, and I used to not even feel that way about Amanda Nunes. But now that the UFC has said she's cleared to fight and the UFC needs a headliner for UFC 228, and Cyborg's down, and Valentina's already on the card, and how big that night could be, not only for Amanda Nunes if she won, but for WMMA specifically, and she's cleared to fight, that's why I look at Amanda Nunes like, nah, sweetie, you called this fight out. It's not like Tyron Woodley came out and said, oh, I want to fight Darren Till. He's next, he's next, he's next. I want to fight him. And then Darren Till was open, and he's like, no, I'm good. It's not like Brian Ortega was like, oh, I can't fucking wait to choke out Jeremy Stephens. And then Jeremy Stephens came out like, hey, let's fight. And then he ducked. It's not like Alexander Gustafsson said, oh, my God, I would love to fight Anthony Smith. And then Anthony Smith won and he pulled out. It's not like there's just one person these fighters are fucking ducking. Now, that is the case with Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes came out, called out Cyborg. Cyborg, I want to fight. Cyborg, it's not about Brazil. Cyborg, nothing personal. Let's fight. All of these call-outs of Cyborg. Now Cyborg's ready to fight, and Amanda Nunes is like, I want to wait till the end of the year. And she's like, yeah, but you're medically cleared. She's like, yeah, but I need time to put on muscle. And it's like, no, that's not what I'm looking for in the Amanda Nunes situation. I'm not looking for you to move up and be a legit featherweight. That's not what I was expecting. I was just expecting you to cut 10 less pounds, go up. You got nothing to lose. If you fight Cyborg, you're not losing your belt. You got nothing to fucking risk. And when you lose, you're probably going back down to 135. It's not like you're trying to put on muscle so you can be a 145er forever. And so it's like, why do you need to put on all this muscle? Do you plan on staying there just to win this one fight? Like, come on, so that's not really what I was expecting from Amanda Nunes. Now, but before that, though, if you haven't listened to the UFC Unfiltered podcast, Amanda Nunes joined, and that's where she was saying, I just want time to sell the fight, more time to sell the fight, more time to put on weight for the fight, and all of these reasons. It's like, no, man, if you're fighting Cyborg, it sells itself. You're fighting Cyborg. From the time of now till the time of this December, I don't think there's going to be that many more people that are like, oh, Amanda Nunes' chances are getting that much better as we wait. Like, regardless of whether this fight happens at 228 or 232, people are probably going to expect Amanda Nunes to lose. Now, there's some people that probably think she can get the job done. She's got a better shot than a lot of Cyborg's other opponents. But there's not many fighters on the planet that people are going to pick to beat Chris Cyborg, whether you're Amanda Nunes or not. So time to sell the fight? Like, what are you talking about? Is this Conor McGregor versus somebody where we got to go on a world tour? We got to stop in Ireland and fucking London, Ireland and London? I mean, for Amanda Nunes versus Cyborg, we probably stop in America, Vegas, New York, and then we probably stop in, like, Rio de Janeiro. We don't got to go on no cross-map the whole world tour to sell this fight. I mean, come on, you know what I'm saying? So the reasons Amanda Nunes is giving up with the time frame, I'm like, all right, I see why people kind of feel like she's ducking. But I'm telling you, 90% of the time, a lot of these fighters, the reason they're giving for not taking these fights is because they're looking for a bigger opportunity, whether that opportunity is the title or whether that opportunity is a bigger payday. 90% of the time, these guys are not ducking. Tyron Woodley, people say, oh, he's ducking. He was ducking Wonderboy. He was ducking Maya. He beat Wonderboy twice. Then he beat Maya, who didn't take him down once. It's like, what is he ducking these guys for? Do you think he's scared of the jiu-jitsu? He's been telling you. Now, the thing is, this is the thing. I think people hear what they want to hear. And that's kind of why I've thought about changing the channel into just going with the popular opinion. Because I know that's what, just in life, just going through life, you find out a lot of the times people don't want to hear what you have to say. They want to hear what they want to hear. If you got some guy that hates Tyron Woodley and he feels like Tyron Woodley is ducking, he doesn't want to hear me tell him no. He wants a payday. He wants to hear, oh yeah, Tyron Woodley's ducking, ain't he? You know, kind of like that. He just wants to reinforce what he already thinks. So with that being said, I think that's why we see a lot of fighters getting accused of ducking. But with that being said, that's not always the case. Tyron Woodley's a guy, he's been coming out and saying, I want a payday. You know, it's not about, I want a legacy, not even just a payday. I want what did you say? Legacy fight. I want a legacy fight. But people just kind of tune that out. Like, no, you don't. You want to duck, you know? And he's one of the most active champions. So that's one of the situations that stands out. It's like Tyron Woodley won his belt and defended it 4 times in 12 months. Now, when you look in the landscape of MMA, usually when people win the belt, there might be an injury that comes up. Like, sorry, I can't fight for like 8 months while I go on this media round. Like we saw with Nico Montano, right? She won the title. Couple injuries came up, so she's had the title for almost a full year now. But it's because she hasn't been super active. It's not like she's just been defending that belt 3 times like Tyron Woodley did. Another situation, Rose Namajunas. Now, she did fight Joanna Jędrzejczyk, but she's a girl that after she fought Joanna the second time, she has an injury she's got to deal with. You know, it's very rare, and not just Rose, not just Nico. There's a lot of girls and guys that after they win the belt, something comes up to where they have to be inactive. Khabib, it's not an injury, but Ramadan. So you're lucky if you get a champion that wins his belt and defends that thing 3 times within a year. That's something Tyron Woodley did that he should actually probably be getting a pat on the back for. Because if you want to see these divisions rotating and people getting opportunities, you need active champions. But our only active champion, and now he hasn't been active since his most recent fight versus Damian Maia, where he said he fucked up his shoulder. But before that, he was one of the most active champions. So that's what you want. So I don't like the idea of criticizing our active champion. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what if Tyron Woodley would have had an injury instead? Like, no, guys, like I couldn't fight Wonderboy twice because I was injured. You know, and so that's a weird situation with Woodley. But just moving on from Woodley, because I know we could take this conversation to many people. We could look at Brian Ortega. He was supposed to fight Max Holloway. But Jeremy Stephens offered to step up. There was word that Frankie Edgar might have offered to step up, even though it's against his family's best wishes. But Brian Ortega looked at it like, I was supposed to be fighting for a title. Why do I want to fight Jeremy Stephens so I can earn a title shot? I already have a title shot. What's this interim belt? Something for me to hang on my wall? If you pay me like a champion, Ortega has said that. You guys come out and you pay me like a champion and we're actually fighting for a title, I'll fight any of these guys. And it's the same with Gustafsson. People are saying Gustafsson is ducking. He said, no, it's a minor injury, and all of these guys you just named, Khalil Roundtree, Jan Blachowicz, Anthony Smith, I'll fight them given the right circumstances, whether it's for a title or whether I'm getting paid. I'll fight them. So if he was, if it was a ducking situation, I think it would be a guy not wanting that fight. Like, ooh, I don't want to fight him. I'll probably lose. You're not going to normally see a guy ducking everybody. Like, you really think, like, that's kind of confusing to me. How many people really believe Alexander Gustafsson is ducking all of these guys? Everyone thinks Alexander Gustafsson is ducking Khalil Roundtree, Jan Blachowicz, and Anthony Smith. You guys think Alexander Gustafsson has nothing for those guys, really? You're telling me you would pick all of those guys against Alexander Gustafsson? No. That's why it's hard for me to even think that he's just ducking them specifically, instead of wanting that title fight that he's already probably deserved. I mean, he could have already got the title fight. Now, deserve is the wrong word. I know, deserve's not a, according to Dana, you don't deserve anything. You should have knocked out in the first round. That's what comes to my mind. I know deserve isn't the right word as far as Alexander Gustafsson and his title shot, because, yeah, he hasn't been the most active. It's not like he's just knocking everyone out while he waits on the title fight, but it was out of him and Ozdemir. He's been the #1 contender, and he could have already fought Cormier again. And if he would have lost to Cormier whenever Ozdemir did, Gustafsson would probably be fighting these fights because he doesn't have a title shot on the way. But since Ozdemir got the votes, and that's literally how Volkan Ozdemir got his title shot over Gustafsson. It's not because he beat a higher ranked opponent. It's not because he had a whole country behind him. It's because Daniel Cormier took to a vote on Twitter and said, hey, who do you guys want to see me fight, Gustafsson or Ozdemir? And the fan vote said Ozdemir. Now, that could have just been because Ozdemir was coming off of a fast knockout, but I mean, come on. What kind of way to pick your opponent is that? Now, if you're DC, you're looking at it like, hey, that's who the fans want to see, and that's where DC's coming from this whole time. And that's another thing. Daniel Cormier is one of the guys talking about Gustafsson turning down these fights, but Daniel Cormier has not wanted this Gustafsson rematch. And is it because DC's ducking Gustafsson or is scared of Gustafsson? No. Like 90% of the fucking reasons we've talked about here, it's because they don't do great business. Daniel Cormier wants what? Money. He wants to sell a lot of pay-per-views. That's why he said multiple times, me and Gustafsson don't do great business. That's probably why Ozdemir got the nod. That's probably why now Cormier said, I'm not fighting Gustafsson. Cormier has literally talked about trying... Why do you think he's fighting Brock Lesnar? Not for his fucking legacy, like, oh, if I get a win on Brock Lesnar, they'll for sure know I'm the GOAT. It's because he's going to sell so many pay-per-views. Come on, dog. It's not that hard. People are trying to get paid here. Maybe you're not... I know what the fuck to talk about, dog. I'm going to turn it on the fans. I'm going to turn it on the fans. Check this out. We're all MMA fans, right? We all want to see UFC 227. We all want to see UFC 228 and 229. I'm gonna flip it on you. Check this out. What if the UFC said, you as the fan get pay-per-view points for one of those pay-per-views? Which one? You can only watch one. Which one are you going to watch? Are you going to watch the least popular pay-per-view or the most popular one? And now I'm flipping it on you like that because that's kind of the situation these fighters are in. Yeah, you should just fight anyone, anywhere, right? And not even think about the money. Or you can fight it. Now let's give that same opportunity to the fighters. Would you rather fight at UFC 227, 228, or 229? They can't watch all of them like us fans. If we're fans, we get to watch all of them, right? We get to watch 227, 228, and 229. We don't have to pick and choose. It doesn't affect our wallet. Now, if we only got to watch one and we were getting paid for it, I think we might make a wiser decision. We might say, which one's the biggest card? Which one's going to sell the most pay-per-views? Because we want the most money. The only person that doesn't give a fuck about money in these equations are people that have money, and that's not everybody. So if you're a fighter, these guys are literally punching people in the face, trying and getting punched in the face in training and in their fights, trying to get money. They're not just doing it because it's their pastime. In their hobby, they don't just go up to people and say, hey, will you punch me in my fucking jaw because that's what I like to do? No, they're doing that because they're trying to get paid. They're prize fighters. They're not just fun fighters. Or we would hear a lot more about these guys fighting in their fucking backyards with other fighters. No, they're trying to get on the biggest cards. They're trying to get on the highest spot on the card. People don't like being on Fight Pass prelims because there's not eyes. They're trying to grow their brand. They're trying to get to bigger fights so they can get more money. The UFC, what are they trying to do? Make more money. Bro, everyone's trying to fucking make more money. They're not just in here trying to prove to every single fan that they're not ducking guys. Oh, the fans think I'm ducking. Let me fight. It's not high school anymore. I'm trying to get fucking paid. I don't give a fuck about what you think, or you think, because my paycheck is how I'm feeding my family. So if you're a fighter, you can't really blame these guys for taking that biggest opportunity, and us fans, it's easy to do because we don't care. Like I said, we can watch UFC 227, 228, and 229. We don't have to fight on, wonder which is the biggest opportunity for us. How are we going to make sure we're financially secured next year by taking the biggest possible fight or the biggest title shot or getting the biggest payday. That's shit that these fighters have to factor into on top of the fight itself, playing that fucking chess game, trying not to get knocked out or submitted. They're also got to fucking add the business aspect to it. Of course, it would be amazing if the fighters didn't have to think about money or who's making what or, oh, do I get paid more to fight here or there? But that's just the reality we live in. And so when you look at all of these names that people say are ducking, people say Brian Ortega's ducking. People say Tyron Woodley's ducking. People say Alexander Gustafsson is ducking. People say Demetrius Johnson is ducking. It's kind of baffling to me when they will tell you out of their own mouth, no, I'm trying to get paid here. But, it's just the fans don't want to hear that, because how does that help you? Oh, Demetrius Johnson is making $1 million to fight DJ. We don't have to pay it, and we're not getting paid. So a lot of the times, us fans, we don't give a fuck about the business aspect. But to the fighters, that's a lot of the time the most important part. Brian Ortega, if he can get a championship payday and an interim title shot versus Jeremy Stephens, if he just waits, you know what I'm saying? Because if he would have took the fight short notice, he probably doesn't have the time to really talk about all of that. And on top of this, it's not him that pulled out of the fight. Max Holloway got injured. He did everything he needed to do. He went through the training camp. And on top of that, Brian Ortega is a guy that offered to fight Khabib on short notice. He's one of the guys that threw his name in the hat. So these guys will show you that they're willing to fight tougher guys on short notice. And then it's just so fans are so quick to turn on him and say they're ducking. Even Gustafsson, he's fought John Jones. He's fought Daniel Cormier. The way he just beat Glover in his last fight, which it's been a while since then because he's waiting on that title shot. But now it's yeah, fans do have a short memory, but people like to think Alexander Gustafsson would be ducking all three of these guys. That's kind of baffling to me. You think not only is he ducking Anthony Smith, and that's the easiest one to believe, right? Because he just got the knockout. So they're like, oh, you don't want that to happen to you. But then he turned down Khalil Roundtree as well. He also turned down Jan Blachowicz. So it's not like he just saw the name Anthony Smith and said, I don't want none of that guy. It's a business decision, I feel like, for a lot of these guys and girls. So with that being said, that's how I feel on ducking. I just feel like a lot of the times we look at it as fans. We don't think about these people's livelihoods, you know what I'm saying? And that's why we kind of are off track sometime. When a fighter's making a business decision and fans who are, sitting either at their computer or at their TV, feeling like that they can say these people, and you can say it, right? You can say whatever you want, but if you truly believe that these fighters are all ducking, I think you're kind of a little delusional. These are professional fighters that have won a lot of fights, a lot of the times, even to get to title contention. It's not even like we're looking at fighters that are unranked, like, oh, you're ducking this guy, or the guys that are at the bottom 15, like, oh, you're ducking him because you don't want to lose your top 15. We're looking at motherfuckers that made it all the way to the top of the UFC. Either they're the champions or they're the #1 contenders, and that's who we start talking about as ducking. You notice that? We're talking about Brian Ortega, #1 contender. We're talking about Tyron Woodley, the champion. Alexander Gustafsson, the #1 contender. You guys, that's kind of crazy. What are we doing here? We're saying #1 fighters and champions in the UFC are ducking. These are the best fighters in the world. These are the motherfuckers that will go out on their shield. They'll take a loss. They had to risk it to get to this point. It's not about just taking an ass whooping. They take those in training all the time. You don't win every single round in training. You don't win every single round in sparring, and you don't win every single round in a fight. These guys have taken L's before, wherever it was. They're not just scared that people are going to point at and laugh at them. These motherfuckers are trying to get paid, dog. And so it is what it is. Let's see who's all in here. Forward thinking in the building. We got Yoza L. Israel A. Gadong in the building. Shocking Beard. We got Curtis Blade, or he said Curtis Blades, my dog. Shocking Beard. Terry Crow, Archon, Kinshiro Ryu. What's up, everybody? But yeah, so those are my thoughts on ducking. And so I just wanted to start off the show with that because after I looked at all the names that have been getting accused of ducking lately, I was like, this is kind of crazy, man. We're accusing all of these champions and #1 contenders of ducking, and usually in every single case that I thought of, it was a money situation. All of these guys are looking for a bigger payday. And with the only situation that wasn't the case in my mind was Amanda Nunes versus Cyborg. whenever you fight Cyborg, that's the payday. You know, it's not like you're looking for a bigger name to fight. It's not like you're looking for a title fight. Either way, that's a champion versus champion super fight. Amanda Nunes' only reasoning was she wants more time to sell the fight and potentially to put on muscle for a 145. And it's like, I'm not really buying that one. But it is what it is, man. And in a lot of these other cases that, you know, the fighters are looking for the bigger opportunity. And one last thing before we get to the UFC Hamburg preview, and then we're also going to go over UFC Calgary and a little bit of news, is check this out. A lot of people felt like, and I want to see what you guys have to say on this, all of these names you see in the title, Woodley, Ortega, Gustafsson, and Demetrius Johnson, everyone said they were ducking. You know, but now here are two names that people have not really said are ducking, but they're kind of doing the same thing here. Daniel Cormier. Now, some people have said he's ducking the Stipe rematch, but you know what Dana White says. You just got knocked out in the first round. You don't deserve an immediate rematch. So, yeah, Stipe had the record, but he got knocked out in the first round. So I can kind of see where that immediate rematch doesn't come straight into play. Of course, I would watch the fight, but did just get finished in the first round by the light heavyweight champion. So it is what it is. But also, what about Daniel Cormier saying that he was going to fight Shogun? Shogun's the only light heavyweight you'll fight before you fight Brock Lesnar? You know? No one's really talking about the fact that Cormier's ducking. You know why? Because he just knocked out Stipe Miocic. That's fresh on your mind. There's a lot of people, it's not crossing your mind that DC could be ducking somebody. And he's probably not. I'm not saying he is. In my mind, DC's not fighting these guys because it's not the biggest payday. I think DC wants money. If you've listened to DC in the last year talking about money fights and how him and Gustafsson don't do great business, DC's got his mind on the money. So you can't really be too mad at that. But that's another situation where he said he'll fight Shogun. How come he, instead of talking shit on Gustafsson, how about you come down here and fight Anthony Smith? All right, well, if you're not going to fight Gustafsson, you were going to fight Shogun, fuck it. Fight Anthony Smith, DC. You got time. But that's not happening. But he's coming out here and talking about Gustafsson. And then Darren Till. Specifically, Darren Till as well. Darren Till, oh, shit. Now and later in the building, he said, you ducking me full time? Amanda needs time. I don't think Amanda needs time because Amanda Nunes could have a year and a half. I mean, I think going into the fight, people are going to kind of feel the same way. Now, maybe Amanda feels like she needs time to put on more muscle, but this is my thing. What are you trying to do? Go up to featherweight permanently? I didn't want that. I don't want to see Amanda Nunes try and go up and be a legit featherweight. And you know what I'm saying? Because I don't think she's going to beat Cyborg likely. If Amanda Nunes is going to beat Cyborg, I think she's got the potential here now. I mean, if you crack Cyborg, Amanda Nunes hits harder than any bantamweight on the planet. I think that's fair to say. If she cracks Cyborg, that's going to be an awakener in itself. She's got the power to potentially rock Cyborg. Now, she's probably not the better striker. I'm just talking about her puncher's chance. What's she trying to do? Put on more muscle for her puncher's chance? You know what I'm saying? It's not. And on top of that, what is she going to do? Stay at featherweight forever? After you put on that muscle, then you're going to have to take time to be able to cut back down to bantamweight if that's what you're doing. If you're trying to transform your body to be a featherweight, it's like, well, then when are you going to defend the bantamweight title? That's not what I was necessarily wanting to see. Amanda Nunes called out Cyborg, and she didn't come out and say, hey, Cyborg, I would love to fight you whenever I transform into a legit featherweight. She wanted to fight Cyborg. She wanted a champion versus champion super fight. So, in my mind, that can happen anywhere from UFC 228 to 232. Now, Amanda Nunes is giving us a good, excuse for, I want to have more time to sell the fight. You know, kind of how when Conor McGregor doesn't take short notice fights, the UFC's like, we need more time to sell the fight, right? They didn't want to let Conor McGregor fight Frankie Edgar on short notice because you want more time to sell a Conor fight because he sells a lot of pay-per-views. That's not the case with Amanda Nunes necessarily, right? When you're talking about pay-per-view sales and Amanda Nunes and Conor McGregor, I think they're on the opposite ends of the spectrum. For Conor McGregor, you can understand. We need time to let the whole world know he's fighting. I don't think the whole world necessarily gives a shit if Amanda Nunes is fighting Cyborg. Now, yeah, fighting Cyborg, that adds to it, but it's still not going to be, I don't think you need to stop in fucking Ireland and then stop in England and then stop in Brazil and then stop in New York. It's not that type of fucking world tour we need to go on, in my mind. We didn't do that for Daniel Cormier versus Stipe. I feel like that was a bigger fight than Nunes versus Cyborg. I would still love to see Nunes versus Cyborg, but, I mean, if Nunes is going to need 6 months, and then in that whole 6 months, who knows? Cyborg and Nunes could be leading the fight at UFC 232. What if Amanda Nunes gets injured 3 weeks before the fight? It's like, what the fuck? We just waited 6 months for an injury? That's why not just get it underway? Like, you're going to be doing all this weight training and shit to become a legit featherweight, and then what happens if you lose? What happens if you lose to Cyborg after becoming a legit featherweight? Then you're going to need time to get back down to 135. It's like if in my mind the perfect thing that would happen, and this was likely to happen, is Cyborg's going to beat Nunes, and then Nunes likely moves back down to defend her title. Now, if Nunes, she's clearly fucking like, I'm not going to lose to Cyborg. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do everything it takes, put on all the weight, take all the time, study all the tape, and I'm going to beat Cyborg. But what if that doesn't happen? Then it's like we just took all this time for what was likely to happen anyway. What's the difference at UFC 228 if Nunes loses and UFC 232 if Nunes loses? If she's going to lose at both pay-per-views, now the only difference is this time might give her time to beat Cyborg, but that's even still a hard possibility. It's going to be hard to fucking go in there and beat Cyborg no matter how much time you have to train. I don't give a damn if it's 228, 232, or 236. It's going to be hard to go in there and beat Cyborg. And then if you do plan on being a legit featherweight, that fucks up the whole bantamweight division. It's like, oh, God, like, I don't know. So I'm not super into the Amanda Nunes waiting until the end of the year thing, but, I mean, it seems like it is what it is. That decision is made. It seems like that's what's happening. Now, when is Cyborg going to get to fight? You know, hashtag free Cyborg. Maybe Cyborg, you know, would get to come back sooner rather than later and maybe beat up on one of these featherweights that didn't get signed by the UFC, you know, another Cyborg feeding in the meantime, in between time. I'm not opposed to that. I mean, fuck it. Let's just see Cyborg eat one of these chicks. You know what I'm saying? Real quick. It don't matter who it is. It can be a bantamweight or a legit featherweight. I think we're all looking at him as Cyborg food until we get a serious threat to Cyborg. Everyone we're looking at with like a submission or a puncher's chance. But, I mean, come on. You know, when Cyborg fought Yana Kunitskaya, when she fought Tanya Evinger, when she fought like her last 3 fights, we kind of looked at them as Cyborg food. And I don't think that'd be any different in Cyborg's next fight. I mean, it is what it is. Cyborg, she could for sure fight at 228 and 232. I mean, who's going to come in here and do enough damage to Chris Cyborg at UFC 228 to prevent her from fighting even at the end of the year? So if I'm the UFC, or, I mean, just as a fan of Cyborg, I'm like, come on. Nunes clearly don't want any smoke at UFC 228. Let's just get somebody, man. Cyborg wants to fight. What are you doing? Now, the only reason the UFC might not do it is if she only has 1 fight left on her contract. And they're like, no, we want it to be the biggest Cyborg fight ever. But, you know, maybe that would keep the UFC from getting Cyborg a fight. But if so, that's kind of fucked up. You're telling me Cyborg's ready to fight. She said herself, I don't get paid to wait. I get paid to fight. Nunes wants to wait 6 months. I'm ready to fight. So, are you saying that Chris Cyborg, the female featherweight champion, is ready to fight? She's got no opponents because the UFC matched Megan Anderson up with Holly Holm, so we lost that opponent for Cyborg. So now Cyborg's ready to fight, and you guys, oh, we got Now and Later coming through with the $2 super chat. He said Cyborg versus Kayla Harrison, 1 clincher is all she needs. 2019, no, 2020, baby. We're gonna give it to 2020. But I'm telling you, y'all got Kayla Harrison fucked up. Hashtag. Oh, Cyborg. See, I don't like saying Cyborg killer because Cyborg's starting to fuck with the channel a little bit. Every now and then Cyborg will come and leave us a comment. Hashtag UFC 228. Hashtag UFC Fight Night Brazil. Hashtag fucking free Cyborg. So I fucks with Cyborg, and I still respect Cyborg's skills. But Kayla Harrison, man, I'm telling you right now, you can call me a Kayla Harris simp. And I don't even think it's no simp shit. It's not like I'm ready to fucking sniff Kayla Harrison's seat on some simp shit and take baths in her piss. I'm not doing all that. But I'm looking at her future and her potential as a mixed martial artist. Oh, yo. I'm just saying. Kayla Harrison, 2020. Two-time gold medalist. That's all I'm saying. She's got that potential. Coming here, that grappling, something Cyborg probably never seen. A chick as big as her, if not bigger than her, ready to put her on the mat. I can't wait for that fight. That's all I'm saying. Be a great fight. So yeah, man, I hear Now and Later with the Cyborg versus Kayla. But yeah, man, aside from that though, Cyborg, she's ready to fight. You're telling me this chick's ready to fight. She can't fight nowhere else, right? She couldn't go to Bellator if she wanted. She couldn't box if she wanted because she's under contract with the UFC. So the only place she can fight, she's ready to fight. but she might not be able to fight until Amanda Nunes is ready? What type of fucked up as shit is that? I'm hired by you, and well, we're independent contractors actually, but I can't go to work until you tell me to? Like, I'm ready to fucking work, dog. I'm healthy. And I don't care who it is. Fuck it, I'll take a bantamweight. If you guys don't want to sign no featherweights, if you don't want to give me Megan Anderson, I'm ready to fight. And Cyborg now might have to wait until Amanda Nunes is fucking ready. That is bullshit, dog. That's literally bullshit to tell me that Cyborg gets paid by the UFC, but she can't get a payday, even though she's ready to fight, because Nunes is waiting. So that's another reason I'm ready to feed Cyborg. Where's some Cyborg food? You know what I'm saying? That's what these girls are. They're food for Cyborg. And I'm looking. I think it's about time for a Cyborg feeding. So with that being said, we got some news to cover as well. But first, we're going to get into the UFC Hamburg preview. It's Monday. Last Monday, we didn't preview the weekend's card because there was so much to talk about. But this Monday, we will. Also, I started doing my predictions for UFC Calgary. As you can see, yeah, I've already got the early Fight Pass prelims predicted. I still got to do the rest of them. So we're going to go over that card as well. First, let's check out the results from Shogun versus Smith. We're just going to go over the 6-fight main card, just the results real fast, you know what I'm saying? Unless there is anything that stands out on the Fight Pass prelims. Nothing crazy. Oh, Bermudez, he looked solid. Undefeated Manny Bermudez. Keep your eye on him, man. He's undefeated. He looked amazing in there versus Davey Grant. That's something to keep your eye on, I believe. 13-0 flyweight, crazy submission game. Is he a world beater? Probably not, but as submissions, he'll probably submit anybody in the division for sure. Alexander Rakic, he looked amazing versus Justin Ledet. Holy shit, did he smoke Justin Ledet. Justin Ledet's a guy that was coming down from heavyweight, very talented boxer, very well-rounded, but Alexander Rakic said, I'm better, man. He came in there, made it look like a kickboxer versus a boxer, and then when he had it on the floor, he made it look like a grappler versus a boxer. I mean, he came in here and completely outclassed Justin Ledet. That was unexpected. I didn't see that coming for sure, but it happened. And now the light heavyweight division definitely has a new name to keep your eye out for, especially in the light heavyweight division where it's already not the most talent-stacked division. You know what I'm saying? Talent-ridden division. So Narimani, he looked okay. He was coming over here. This was a fight where it was a lay-and-pray situation. He was just trying to use his wrestling to survive until the bell. Taha was landing cleaner strikes, might have hurt him on the feet. Narimani coming over as the Cage Warriors champion, just put a whooping on Paddy the Baddy. I'm telling you right now, man, just my personal research and what I've been seeing, Cage Warriors got some splaining to do. You know what I'm saying? Molly Meatball McCann came over here and got straight exposed by Jillian Robertson on the mat. Nad Narimani beat Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, who's kind of Cage Warriors' biggest star. I mean, if you don't know about Cage Warriors, you probably know about Paddy the Baddy. And you might not even know about him. But this Nad Narimani guy is the guy that beat Paddy the Baddy. But he came to the UFC and he didn't look great. So, I mean, that's the second Cage Warriors champion that even though he got the win in this fight, he didn't look amazing. So, Cage Warriors, you know, they're doing their thing, but they're not on the level of a lot of these other MMA organizations. You know, they got some names that you start to recognize, but as far as UFC caliber, they got some splaining to do. Fabinski versus Mech, this fight was just... I'm a fan of Emil Mech. I mean, before this fight, it's starting to wear off, man. Like, whenever Emil Mech came to the UFC, I became a little bit of a fan. I like his personality, how he got to the UFC with that win over Husama Parharis. He got thrown against the fucking Kamaru Usman, the Savage, who is probably one of the best welterweights in the world, definitely one of the best wrestlers in the division. And so Emil Mech, and that was the performance where Kamaru Usman went 30%, but Emil Mech got kind of out-grappled in that fight. He didn't just get, you know, outclassed, because he definitely had his moments in the striking, but still, he went against a very talented wrestler in Kamaru Usman and lost that fight. Now he was going against Bartosz Fabinski. Definitely a very talented wrestler, but Emil Mech, he kind of threw the first round away, just being a little boneheaded. Like, he charged across the octagon at Bartosz, threw the flying knee, and it's like, yo, you're going against a guy that just wants to lay on you like glue. When you put yourself in those risky situations, it's that much easier for him to get a takedown. So Emil Mech comes with the flying knee, lands a hook, and then he's on his back, just getting fucking glued by Bartosz Fabinski, who that's his style. He just likes to lay on you, and he's kind of prey, just try and ride you out, just not Habib style. He's not doing a lot of damage, but he's just trying to control you, just grapple you, take you down, and do that. So he was able to do that in the first round after Emil Mech's boneheaded flying fucking knee. And on top of that, like, I knew this was a potential coming into this fight. Bartosz Fabinski, he's a grappler for sure. He's a guy that wrestlefucker might be the right term to fit him, you know what I'm saying? But he was off for like 2 years. And on top of being away from the sport for like 2 years, he's still probably not on the wrestling skills of Kamaru Usman. And after Emil Mech's lost to Kamaru Usman, he's also been training with Kamaru Usman at the UFC Performance Institute. Seen some of those videos before I made my prediction for this fight. And so it's like Emil Mech had all the tools he needed to win this fight. He's been training with an elite wrestler. Now, it's not going to come overnight, the wrestling skills with Kamaru Usman. But you fought against an elite wrestler, Kamaru Usman. That's a lot of experience fighting against guys like this. You might think, okay, if I'm fighting against a dominant wrestler, I probably should make the least amount of boneheaded strikes as possible. Or I should probably not put myself in the risk to be taken down if I can avoid it. So if you're going against a guy like Kamaru Usman or Bartosz Fabinski, probably not wise to come out with the fucking flying knee, you know, because then they might get you where they want you, hug you against the fence, try and take you down and hold you down all fight, and that's what happened here. So Emil Mech lost the first round, second round more of the same, controlled with the grappling by the less active Bartosz Fabinski, who, like I said, coming off like a 2-year layoff, not on the level of Kamaru Usman, but he definitely looked like Kamaru Usman here against Emil Mech because Emil Mech lost the first 2 rounds. He had a moment in the third where it was a little bit of a comeback moment for Fabinski. He started to look like he had been away for 2 years, maybe out of gas. So Emil Mech, he caught him one time, and Fabinski had his mouth open like, you know, it looked like he might have been wobbled and out of breath. Like Emil Mech almost was able to finish the fight in the third before getting taken back down. So very disappointing performance by Emil Mech. Started all off with a non-wise decision. Like, whenever he came in there and threw that flying knee, I was like, no, that was not smart. That was not smart. But hey, it is what it is. You probably had fun. I mean, if you're in there to have fun. If you're in there to win, that's one thing. But some of them guys maybe just in there to have fun. Emil Mech, the Viking, maybe he just wanted to, you know, get dressed in his Viking suit after the fight. He was more, I don't know, man. It was just disappointing. I'm not, you know, that's how I came out of that fight. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? You just fought a very talented wrestler. You're training with him. You likely know, unless you watched zero tape on Fabinski, that's his style as well. Even if you watch zero tape, if you just look up Fabinski's fights on the UFC, he scored like 10 takedowns in one fight, fucking 6 takedowns in the other. It's not too hard to figure out his game plan. So, you know, I just thought Emil Mech would have been able to improve enough. And even if he wrestling isn't his strong suit, Fabinski's not Usman. So I was like, okay, 2 years off. He's now no Usman. This is going to be a good test for Mech to see if he can defend some wrestling against a less skilled wrestler. But nope. Very disappointing performance from Emil Mech. It is what it is, though. We had Nick Hein versus Damir Hadzovic. Damir Hadzovic looked great in that fight. But let's move to the main card. Nick Hein, German fighter, he lost to Hadzovic. But Hadzovic also, you know, he had some of the crowd on his side as well. He wasn't from far away. And he looked great. But we had Mark Jacasey versus Nasrat Haqparast. I don't know how to say his last name, but really this was Mini Gastelum versus Mini Stylebender. I mean, this guy, I don't even understand how they did it. I mean, this might be like a Kelvin Gastelum clone, you know what I'm saying? But like the best clone you've ever seen. No, I don't know, but this is crazy how much these guys looked alike. Their styles are similar, the boxing, the wrestling. Like, maybe these guys are related with different last names. Like, you know them experiments where, like, twins are separated at birth? All right, no, jokes aside. Mini Gastelum versus Mini Stylebender. Man, Mini Stylebender, another very disappointing performance. He was coming in here, I believe, on a 2-fight losing streak. He was the most experienced opponent Nasrat had fought to date. And it was a much-needed win for him as well. I mean, Mark Jacasey, he had a lot of potential at one point. And maybe some people are still going to hold out the belief in Jacasey. You know, maybe the UFC can throw him another guy that he's supposed to beat, you know, and he can actually win. But, I mean, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. He lost to Dan Hooker and Drakkar Klose, both very talented fighters. Now, Nasrat coming into this fight, I kind of thought it was Mark Jacasey's fight to win. You know, it's a much needed win. Most experienced fighter Nasrat had fought to date. He's more experienced than Nasrat himself. Coming into that fight, I believe Jacasey was 12-2. Nasrat was like 7-2. So he had more fights. Nasrat lost his UFC debut to Marcin Held via unanimous decision. Didn't look amazing. Marcin Held, he's not a world beater. So, I mean, it was a fight that, you know, Mark Jacasey really needed to win as well. Now he's on a 3-fight losing streak. I mean, you know, he's still young in his game. He's got potential, but we'll see where he goes from here. Just a disappointing performance from a guy that had a lot of promise. You know, before his losing streak, people talked about him as like one of the next big stars from the UK, like one of the next best fighters, one of the next best things. But that's definitely not the case as of right now, especially with this disappointing loss to Nasrat. But Manny Gastelum looked great in this fight. I think he almost knocked him out a couple times. Like, I'm surprised he lost that unanimous decision to Marcin Held after this performance. But to be fair, maybe Mark Jacasey was just a little bit of a, and I don't like using this word, fraud. You know, maybe Mark Jacasey just wasn't up there. But either way, it was a fun fight, a little bit of a letdown. I picked Mark Jacasey to win. I thought he needed it. So now who knows what happens with Mark Jacasey. Maybe he takes, you know, the Red Mohawk to Bellator. They've already had Dada 5000. Maybe this is like a mini Dada, you know, not as in stamina, like dying in the fight, no cardio, but just the Red Mohawk thing, you know what I'm saying? This is like a mini Stylebender mixed with the... All right, we're having too much fun here. But no, on a serious tip, though, Stylebender and Gastelum are both middleweights. On a serious tip, this could be like a future fight. I'm not even kidding. Gastelum's fighting for the title soon. Adesanya's on the way up. This could literally be like deja vu, like happening. Like whenever Israel Adesanya fights Kelvin Gastelum in the future, if that ever happens, a lot of us are probably going to feel like we had deja vu at that time because we feel like we already saw the fight. You know, this is almost like that type of shit going on. But no, moving on though, we had Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts. He beat the UFC newcomer David Zawada, Germany's own, took the fight on short notice after Alan Jouban was forced out. Wait, what the fuck is up with this scrubby in here? MMA Fast Topics. I know this isn't the real one, man. It's hard to pay that rent with super chat donations. I know, man. That's why we got the GoFundMe. You see the, you see the motherfucking link in the description. You know, I took everything you worked for. The least you could do, and I know it's not the actual one. This is a troll, but the least you could do is motherfucking hit that GoFundMe because we're moving to a new studio. Just to shit on you. If it is the real you, if it's not, if you're just a troll, we ain't doing nothing but shit on you, bro. And even if we don't get donations, we're gonna keep grinding. So it doesn't matter. And on top of that, whatever fucking invisible ceiling I felt like was on our channel has been lifted recently. You know, maybe more people will start getting notifications. But there was a time where it felt like our channel just stopped. We were growing fast, and then we just stopped. And we started like losing subs out of nowhere. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? Like either, you know, our channel is kind of being sabotaged somehow, either by a hacker or whatever or what. But it seems like recently... And I was paying attention to the sub count at that point. But we were stuck at like, I don't know, 6,200 or something. But bro, we've gained like 1,000 subscribers in like the last couple of weeks. Like we are fucking growing fast now. And it's how it kind of used to be. So that's dope to see. I don't want to jinx that. But it definitely feels like we've got a little help from like the YouTube gods as of late. You know, maybe people are starting to see our notifications. Maybe the hackers have left. I don't know what's going on. But either way, man, it is what it is. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Homies in here talk about super chat donation. I don't give a fuck about a super chat donation. They're cool. It makes me, you know, notice when someone's saying something. Like if you want me to respond to something, that's definitely a good way. But super chat donations don't come until the end of the month anyway. If somebody fucking donated 500 on super chat, I wouldn't get that shit till next month. So that ain't, you know, it is what it is. Everything else though, hey. But with that being said, can't sell that fight maybe in Brazil, said Jukebox Johnny. A Someday said, I think it helps when MMA is doing good too. The trolls, is it the real has-been? No, now as far as MMA Fast Topics, like, is that the real one? I know some of you might be thinking, I used to think that as well. This is actually like Oscar. I'm talking about one of the very first trolls. Either MMA Talk, Oscar, some of you guys don't even know these names because you ain't been rocking with the channel long enough, but hashtag fuck Oscar. Like, some of you guys remember Oscar, he was one of the first trolls, one of the first Stewies, one of the first motherfuckers that fucked with us repeatedly. And so he eventually went away. But one thing I noticed right after he went away was like it seemed like he made MMA Quick Hits the actual channel, like one of those first trolls. And now we didn't know if that was the real Quick Hits or if that was just one of the trolls, but I'm pretty sure it's one of the trolls because they actually like called into the show and they were just trying to play like Quick Hits recordings. They were just trying to like play old clips of his voice. But I was like, all right, respond to this. And they wouldn't respond. So they were acting like they had his voice, but it was just a recording, like some fucking Siri shit in his voice. You know, some of his old videos that were still up. So it's not the real one, just another troll. Fit and Fine said, what is up, full time? What is due? Fit and Fine MMA with Lavelle Zachary West. Not much. What's good, brother? We got Quincy Pinola. You took some hits this week. I've actually been coming up this week. Now, I took hits on the donations because some fucking, I don't even want to call them the F word like I used to say when I was growing up, but some fucking troll flagged my other GoFundMe. We had $75 on it, so we lost that money and got sent back to the people. But we started a new one. It ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. This 1 week goal we have right now, it's just a 1 week goal. It's really a bigger picture. We have 70 days until our lease is up. This is just for the next week. My guy, Yank My Dandy Doodle, said he'll match every single donation. So that's why I've been pushing that. But I ain't worried about no trolls. I ain't worried about no donations, bro. If I don't get a donation for the next 2 months, I'm still likely going to be doing this shit as long as I can. It's got nothing to do with that. It's about the potential. It's about the future. Donations are going to help us get off the floor, but they're not necessary. I don't give a fuck if nobody donates. Yeah, it's going to fucking, you know, take longer to get where we need to go, but I don't care. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not for it. If you got kids, if you got a family, if you got a business, if you got shit you need to do with your money, if you're not just going to the fucking strip club and giving it to some fucking hoe you don't know, that, you know what I'm saying? If you're just wasting your money or on drugs or something like that, yeah, help me the fuck out. I'm trying to get out of a real shitty situation that I don't elaborate on. But once I have my shit together, I do kind of want to tell you guys my story, you know, some of the crazy shit that's happened, some of the shit that's almost got me fucked over, a lot of the shit that's went on in life that I don't talk about. I don't talk about it because I don't want to use it as like a pity thing, right? Like there's a lot of cool stories, real shit I've been through, like crazy shit, like that I think people would like to hear about. But if you start talking about it, it kind of feels like, I don't know, it kind of, you know, feels like an excuse. Like if I tell you that this happened to me and then this happened, like, it kind of feels like an excuse, and I don't want any excuses like that. I'm just fucking putting my head down and getting to work. So maybe one day something happens. But I do got some shit that I think would be cool for you guys to hear. Like this one time I almost got fucking locked up on some serious shit. Wrong place, wrong time. But it's a crazy story, and it happened. And I would like to tell you guys about it. But I feel like a lot of those situations are kind of, I don't know how to approach bringing them up until, like, I'm set, right? If I didn't have to worry about people's perspectives and shit like that, I might have already told you guys, but I don't want to look the wrong way, right? Like my image. I don't want people to think, oh, this happened, so fucking he feels like that's why he's not doing this. So I don't talk about a lot of the cool shit I would like to speak on, but in the future, man, I'm telling you guys, I'm going to tell you guys some stories. You guys are going to be like, what the fuck, dog? I wish I would have been knowing this. Like, some crazy shit, man. Your boy Big Full Time's been out here in these streets somewhat. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I say in these streets, I don't mean fucking robbing fucking, you know, people in liquor stores and killing people, but some shit's went on. So yeah, there's some cool shit, man. But with that being said, forward thinking said, or forward always, I get that confused. What are your thoughts on Luke Thomas' suggestion of a 4-man tournament being implemented into the UFC? In my opinion, it would help divisions like 135, 155, and 205. 1 second. I kind of liked it. I like the idea, but like for Bellator, I feel like it really works. But the UFC might have too many fighters. They might have, and especially maybe a 4-man tournament. But I don't know. I will kind of have to hear more about it. I might have to hear Luke Thomas's actual, you know, what he had to say about it. Because it would be weird. Like, what do you do? Like the top 4 contenders or the champion and the top 3 ranked? The biggest names in the division? Do you just go with the most popular fighters? Because I did hear about a 4-man lightweight tournament, right? With GSP, Conor McGregor, Khabib, and Nate Diaz. But it's like, then how do you choose who gets the spot? If it's just the most popular fighters and you're just doing it to sell pay-per-views, it's like, all right, I get it. Everyone else will just kind of have to fall in line. Oh, you didn't make the tournament? Oh, well, eat a fucking dick. You're not the most popular fighter. You know, kind of like how it is anyway. Like, oh, you want to be on the pay-per-view? Start selling more pay-per-views. So it might be a shitter situation where the rest of the fighters kind of just get shit on, but I mean, it is what it is, right? But it's like, let's just use a lightweight tournament for example. If it was Conor McGregor, GSP, and Khabib, we all get those names. But when the fourth spot kind of goes to Nate Diaz, we get it if you're talking about the most popular fighter. But if you're talking about who deserves that fourth spot, you're probably looking at names like Tony Ferguson or the winner of Alvarez Poirier. So I kind of like the idea of tournaments. I think they make it more interesting. Like, I like the welterweight tournament coming up. I think it makes me want to watch the fights that much more. The heavyweight tournament, Grand Prix, it don't even have all heavyweights, but it's still kind of intriguing. Like, oh shit, how is Chael about to do against Fedor? You know, that's a little intriguing because they're not all the same division, but on top of it just being a bracket, that's kind of cool. You know, kind of getting to do, you know, like March Madness type shit. So I like the idea of tournaments, but the politic part and who gets in the tournament and all of that is just kind of sketchy to me. But in Bellator, I think it works better because you got 7 welterweights. You know, you barely have a top 8. I don't think there's going to be many fighters that are getting left out of the Bellator welterweight tournament. If you're just doing a top 4, then definitely there's going to be more fighters left out. And so in the UFC, you probably definitely have to do just the top 4. And then that's almost not a tournament. I mean, it kind of is. I don't know. I like the idea of tournaments, but at the same time, I'm not 100% sure how it would work in the UFC. But I mean, I'm open to like discussing it, you know, like a discussion about it for sure. Given Surenames that I gave my last 34 to full-time MMA, my motherfucking dog Given Surename. Yo, he ain't letting no trolls fuck with him. Our first GoFundMe got flagged down and he donated $25 to it. It got refunded. We put it back up and he came through with a $34 spot, man. And see, whenever people tell me, it's like, yo, bro, like I would love to help, but I got like 5 kids, you know, and I only got $2, so here's $1. I'm like, yo, I don't even want your dollar. You got 5 kids. I already know you're trying to make shit work until taxes get here, man. You know what I'm saying? I know how that goes. My brother got 3 with another one on the motherfucking way for no goddamn good reason. Not another topic for another day. But it is what it is. I know how it goes. Niggas is broke. And, you know, and I know a lot of motherfuckers that listen to me are broke as well. Shit, that's probably why you resonate with me. You know, there's probably not too many rich people or business-minded people that can relate to me because I can't relate to them as well. Now, if I had my own business where I kind of had to shit on my employees more often, you know what I'm saying, and I kind of understood the business side more, which I would like to do, then it might be the other way around. But I've always been a worker, right? Like growing up, and everyone I know, my family, like we're always like on the bottom side looking up. So I kind of had that sketched perspective growing up, and I realized that I'm trying to change that because you know everyone's not like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'll try to because I already started. But it's like I'm used to like the Tyron Woodley mentality. I hate to put it that way, you know what I'm saying? Like everyone's always against you. Like you're always fucking, there's always somebody out to get you. Someone's doing something. You don't have much of an opportunity, you know, like the hopeless mentality, like the people that I grew up around. I don't know many business owners or successful people or people with money, but I try to relate to that mentality. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that's gonna get more of those people rocking with the full-time family, because the way I come at it now, if I come at it like I've always been, a broke motherfucker, that's going to attract other broke motherfuckers, and that's cool, you know what I'm saying? But it's not really going to help you in the grand scheme of things. Like, if you had a business, who do you want to be your customers? Do you want to have broke-ass customers, or do you want to have customers that have money? You know, I think that's the situation a lot of the times, like even with the UFC. You know, it's not, you know, whenever people talk, you know, you see a lot of people against Tyron Woodley or whatever the fuck, or not just Tyron Woodley. I don't want to bring that name up specifically, but I feel like it's just a different mentality, like a different mindset. Like if you grew up more from that type of background, I feel like you might relate more. I don't know. It's hard to explain, man, but it is what it is. Maybe some of you guys got that. Maybe some of you didn't. You know, the people who got that probably understand what I'm saying. They probably are broke as fuck, and they probably are trying to pay their bills as well. You know, paycheck to paycheck type shit. I feel like I relate to those people a lot more, but I don't necessarily want that to be the case. You know what I'm saying? We can all be fucking broke as fuck around the water cooler all day, but I'm actually trying to, do something. And it's nothing against broke people, because that's where I come from. But it's just like, if you're broke and you're trying to make something of yourself, you eventually need to make some money. But, I fuck with the broke people. I love broke people, because I'm broke as fuck. My whole family's broke. So I love broke people, but there's not much future in that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I try to, like, look at everything from both sides. I'm not just going to come up like, oh, man, the fucking UFC. I'm never just going to be one of those guys like, oh, that's some racist shit. Oh, that's fucked up. Oh, it's because I'm trying to look at it from every side. I understand the UFC has business expenses. We don't know how much they spend. But from the outside looking in, it looks like these motherfuckers are getting cashed out. It looks like they're making a lot of money, but I still ain't going to play the game like all fighters need to be paid more. All fighters are getting ripped off, because I don't know if that's the case. Even if I feel that way, I understand that that's not always the case. So I just try and be unbiased, objective, and just rock out and see what happens. Woodley is ducking, said Damian Hunter. DJ is ducking. Gus is ducking. Let me ask you this, Damian Hunter. If you feel that way, do you feel like Darren Till is ducking? And do you feel like Daniel Cormier is ducking? What do you think about Darren Till not fighting Kamaru Usman? Is that ducking? You know what I'm saying? And I'm only asking that question because I like Darren Till. I'm definitely not accusing him of ducking. But I feel like that's the same thing going on with all these other fighters. If you don't like someone, you're easier to say that they're ducking. If you do like someone, you're going to give them an excuse. A lot of the times, I don't know, that I could take that to a whole nother just real life lesson that I learned. Like, me growing up, I was the little brother, right? And I'm just going to take this somewhere else for a second. If you like it, you take it and not send it right back. So I was a little brother, right? For whatever reason, motherfuckers always believed my older brother. We're not far apart, not even a full year. Motherfucking people say we look like twins. Fuck that guy. No, he's my guy, but still, we're 11 months apart. We grew up competitive as fuck. Button head like lawyers. And people say we should be lawyers because it doesn't matter who's right and who's wrong. We're arguing. Doesn't matter who's right, doesn't matter who's wrong. But growing up, I also learned motherfucking popular opinion matters, because he might have been more popular, you know what I'm saying? So it kind of seemed like, even like, let's say we're talking about the sky being blue. And I'm telling you, the sky's blue, man, and this motherfucker is coming up with some stupid-ass argument that the sky is green. Well, if you've got a crowd of people and they're his friends, they're going to be a lot more likely to listen to his argument, you know what I'm saying? Or if they're on his side. So the most popular fighter usually gets the benefit of the doubt. And that's where I take this to. Conor McGregor, you don't get as many people saying he was ducking, wrestlers, nothing like that. You know why? Because he's a popular fighter and everyone loves him. Motherfucking, when it comes to a less popular fighter like a Brian Ortega or a Tyron Woodley, people are kind of quicker to accuse them of ducking. Even Alexander Gustafsson. So let's see if he's responded to anything about Darren Till, though. Because we talked about that earlier in the show, so I don't want to go back into that. Yozel said, do like rappers do and get some fake jewelry. You know what? That's a good idea. I've been thinking about that. Like, maybe I should do some fake it till I make it type shit. Not fake jewelry. I mean, that's always been kind of weird to me. But I wonder if it would attract, you know what I'm saying? Attract the fake ballers. But, kind of what you're saying there. But I don't know, man. I'm definitely, yeah. I hear what you're saying. I like the ideas. I like the ideas, Yozel. I like brewing the ideas, thinking what we can do to, you know what I'm saying, grow. Kim Jong-Uzi said, DJ doesn't get any pay-per-view sales. I believe in his contract, he only got it for his 10th defense. I think that's right. And even if he did get pay-per-view sales, we the fans and the UFC has helped too. But how long have we been saying Demetrius Johnson's not a pay-per-view draw? So if DJ, even if he does get pay-per-view sales, he would have to hope that him versus TJ sells, because he doesn't sell a bunch of pay-per-view buys. So what's the point in fighting for pay-per-view points if you're Demetrius Johnson and you don't sell that many pay-per-views? Like, you're probably still going to get a small bump, but if you're not on a huge card with like a Conor McGregor or a Brock Lesnar, those pay-per-view sales ain't going to do a lot for you. And I think where DJ's coming from and what he's trying to say is, everyone's telling me that this is going to be a super fight, but there's no guarantee that I'm going to get paid like a super fight. What's the point? Like, all these people want to see me move up. This is probably the most people have wanted to see Demetrius Johnson fight than I can remember. And it's funny because they all want him to move up. But it's a good thing that they want Demetrius Johnson. Whether they want him to fight fucking Cejudo or whether they want him to fight TJ. I think it's a good thing that people want Demetrius to do something. So that's at least something going for Demetrius Johnson. But is there any guarantee that that translates into pay-per-view sales? You know what I'm saying? For Demetrius Johnson, like, you can fight TJ. Is there a guarantee that that's going to make us, all of us, come out $50, you know, and shell out that money? So I think Demetrius Johnson wants like a flat fee. And on top of that, he's going up a weight class. You don't really hear many fighters get accused of ducking for not wanting to fight the champion up, right? How many people accuse TJ Dillashaw of ducking for not wanting to fight Max Holloway? I don't, you know, I don't think I've ever heard that. I don't even know if I've ever heard Demetrius Johnson or TJ Dillashaw talk about moving up, but he's moving down, so that kind of changes that. But, you know, usually you don't get called out for ducking when you're not fighting a higher weight guy. Usually it's the bigger guy, you know, that gets called out for wanting to fight the smaller guy. It's like, haha, you're scared, you don't want to fight fucking Stipe Miocic. It's like, what? He's a heavyweight champion. You know what I'm saying? Like, haha, you don't want to fight the biggest guy, you know, so it is what it is, though. But let's just continue to break down this card, man. I got into the chat a little bit, off into some crazy shit. Sometimes I get into that. I know a lot of that shit didn't have to do with MMA, man, but it is what it is. Just rambling a little bit. I call in like I'm Ortega. He said, Yoza L. Yo, chill. And Ortega, that's another guy that's been getting accused of ducking. I don't know if that's the case, because let's say the UFC were to say, hey, Brian Ortega, you're fighting for Max Holloway. He's not going to be back for a while. So, undisputed title fight first. Jeremy Stephens, UFC 228. Are you in? Then you could say he was ducking if he just turned down that fight. If a fighter turns down the same offer, just a different name, okay, now we can have a conversation. But if it's a fighter trying to make the best business decision for them and their family, it's kind of hard to say they're ducking. You know, but it is what it is. I know that's not going to stop everybody just because you feel that way. I mean, you're probably going to have tomorrow more people talking about how Gustafsson's ducking fucking Anthony Smith. And I don't know if that's the case. So, but let's move on to the rest of this card. Marcin Tybura versus Stefan Struve. Stefan Struve, holy smokes, 3-fight losing streak. He has been looking worse than ever, if I might say. I mean, I picked Marcin Tybura in this fight just because Stefan Struve's last performance was so disappointing for me. When he fought Andrei Arlovski, and Andrei Arlovski kind of just like fucking outclassed him, I didn't expect that. But it is what it is. Andrei Arlovski, I mean, he was, before this fight with Stefan Struve, he was on like, he had only beat Junior Albini. Let's see, where's Andrei Arlovski? So Stefan Struve's on a 3-fight losing streak. He lost to Volkov, then he lost to Arlovski. Arlovski outstruck him and took him down 4 times. It's like, holy shit, Andrei Arlovski turned back the hands of time on Stefan Struve. But after that performance, I was like, yeah, man, I just don't see myself picking Stefan Struve to win any fights coming up soon. But in this fight, I mean, before that Struve win, Arlovski was on a 5-fight losing streak. So Arlovski lost 5 times to very talented fighters, right? Then he beat Junior Albini, and then he beat Stefan Struve pretty handedly, and that kind of, you know, and then even against Tai Tuivasa, though, Andrei Arlovski looked good in that fight, not going to lie. But yeah, man, Stefan Struve took that L there. I picked that to happen. I kind of predicted it. He hasn't been looking amazing. Maybe Stefan Struve will get an opponent outside the top 15, and maybe he can get a W there, because Stefan Struve has a lot of experience, man. 32-10, and he's only 30 years old, so he's definitely got a lot of experience for a heavyweight. He's young for a heavyweight, and with his size, he seems like he'd be kind of a harder guy to figure out, you know, because you're not going to find a lot of training partners for him. But I mean, there's enough tape on him now. You probably can see where other people had success, and it seems like that's what's going on, because he's lost 3 fights in a row, and now he almost finds himself in a situation like Arlovski. You know, he's going on a losing streak, and you wonder, is he going to be in the UFC by the time it's over? Now, Arlovski, he's a legend of the sport. He was able to come back, do his thug thizzle, snap that skid, back to the winning streak. So maybe Stefan Struve will be able to do that, but I don't think it'll be against one of the top 15 heavyweights in the UFC. So moving on to Abu Azaitar, not fucking around with the win over Vitor Miranda. Huge fan favorite, man. When I was doing my predictions for this fight, I knew this guy was going to have a lot of fans, because this motherfucker had like 1 million followers on Instagram and pictures with the king and shit. Like, oh yeah, this motherfucker, he's somebody. Like, we might not necessarily know all about Abu Azaitar where we're from, but he's definitely somebody, you know, taking pictures with the king. And, you know, I'm talking about like old school king. I don't even know where they still do kings and queens like that. I mean, I know about the Queen of England, but I'm talking about, I believe he was from, let's see, I don't want to get it wrong. He's from Morocco and Germany. So maybe Morocco has a king or something. I know on the post-fight speech, he was like, yo, shout out to King something something the 6th, taking care of my family. And so I came into this fight knowing that this guy, there was something about this guy. And he looked great in the fight, never gave up. Holy shit. He reminded me of low-key like one of them gladiators from the old school arenas. Like, never give up until you die type shit. Like, you know how sometimes when fighters are fighting and you hear the tick for the last 10 seconds and they kind of, you know, all right, 10 seconds left. It is what it is. This motherfucker, there could have been 2 seconds left. He's still trying to take Vitor's head off. He ain't stopping until the bell is over. It's like, dog, the ticker, I'm surprised the bell ain't rang yet, but he's still fucking bringing it. And I'm talking about that happened at the end of the first round and the end of the third round. Abu didn't give a fuck about that little 10-second ticker. He was in there trying to finish and fight until the end. I'm talking about the end. I ain't talking about 5 seconds left. I ain't talking about 10 seconds left. I ain't talking about 2 seconds left. I'm talking about to the point where the referee's almost getting punched in the face trying to split him because he's ready to motherfucking go. He's just not giving up and he's not quitting until the round is over. So I kind of saw where some of the fans came from. This motherfucker definitely, even in a win, showed his heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, usually you see a motherfucker's heart when they lose or when they fight through a war. He showed his heart in a win just because he never quit, never gave up. Even when he was up, waited. I'm telling you, I was very impressed with Abu Azaitar's performance here over the UFC vet Vitor Miranda. He got his hand raised as well, and I definitely felt like he earned that fight. Forward Thinking says, the Queen sends her regards. Full-time MMA. Sources close to the palace say she's an OG member of the full-time. Bro, if you don't cut it out, yo, Forward Thinking, don't joke with me like that. Bro, whenever I find a motherfucker listens to me with the blue check mark on Twitter, I get giddy. Like, oh shit, there's a motherfucker with like 500,000 followers listening to little old broke ass me. You know what I'm saying? That shit makes me laugh sometimes because I don't know why we don't see this more often, but it's just kind of crazy to me. And eventually I got to get over that. As a fan, you don't always like seeing people like, oh shit, you know, like fanning out. But I'm a fucking fan, so I fan out. You know, whenever the first time I talked to Sean O'Malley or Felony Charles Bennett, I was like, what the fuck? Do you guys realize I'm literally a nobody, right? You know, maybe clearly they don't because I got the interview, but it's crazy to me whenever somebody follows or even anything like that. So for you to say, like, sources say the palace has an OG member of the full-time family, I'm not going to buy it because I'm not that gullible, but I'm just saying if that was the case, that would be crazy. But speaking of all the motherfuckers following me with blue check marks, I don't know if they're for me or against me. Ain't none of them reached out. Ain't none of them, except for my guy Stamina MC. But all the other people that I was telling y'all about, I don't know, maybe they listen to the channel from afar, but I don't know. That's a weird situation. Like, there's a guy, and I want to tell y'all, because I don't know why it kind of freaked me out, but it kind of did. And I'm even going to say the state. But there was a guy, he was like the former CFFO or CFO of the state of California. That's a big-ass state. That's a big-ass state. CFO, isn't that like financial something? I was like, what the fuck did I do? Either I did something wrong or I did something right for this powerful-ass old dude to be following me like that. I kind of felt the other way first. Like, man, did I call fake news on the wrong shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, whoa, what did I do? But maybe it's just a guy, you know, that listens to MMA and he rocks with the channel. I don't know. But it was around the same time a lot of the other people did. And you know, none of them have ever reached out. And I don't expect that because, you know, maybe that would be weird for them. You know, I don't know how many people I just reach out to unless I'm trying to get an interview. But it is what it is, man. Yeah, it's kind of weird whenever I find out anybody with any notoriety kind of follows me. I mean, everybody, it's dope that we have 6,000 subscribers. But whenever I think about, like, my words reaching important people, because I don't look at myself as important. So if I'm just talking to my guys that are also fucking broke at work just trying to make ends meet, I kind of feel like we're just talking MMA. But whenever I see, like, someone sending me a Snapchat and they're on a private plane or someone's at a fucking radio station listening to me, I'm like, whoa, I'm talking to a whole bunch of people I don't realize I'm talking to. Like, you know, it's kind of crazy. It's surreal for a moment. But, yo, that is kind of dope. Trolls getting wrenched. What is this guy saying? What is MMA quick fags? I gotta watch that word. You need a sign with will work for food. MMA begging time. Yo, you might be onto something. But all right, Oscar. All right, Oscar. Continuing on, let's see. Trolls getting rinsed today, Effie. See, I don't know why. Maybe it's, but trolls can only time people out. You guys can't ban people. I'm not sure why, but that's just a YouTube setting. So maybe if I see him, I'll ban him. But I'm not always paying attention. But like I said, You can call me broke, nigga. You wouldn't know I was broke if I didn't tell you. Half the shit that the trolls use. Oh, you're a toilet cleaner, bitch. I told you that. It ain't like you went and did no research or nothing. You found that information out from listening to me talk. So if I was embarrassed about being poor as fuck or having a negative bank account or any of that shit, where I come from, where I work, I wouldn't have told you, dog. That's part of the story. That's part of the reason this shit is so crazy to me. Because I am just some fucking broke, random-ass worker that you would probably just walk by and not say 2 words to, unless you knew me. If you saw me out in public, because I'll tell you this, I'm not going to get too specific as to where I work, because I know trolls will call and try and get me fired and shit. But where I work, it's a public facility. And these public facilities are in every single state of every fucking city. So, there's a chance you've walked by somebody with my same occupation. And it's a nothing. So that's why it's crazy to me. Because to me, we're just a bunch of fucking regular-ass broke people talking MMA. And so whenever that changes, it's kind of crazy. A troll, you can't get to me. I'm just a fucking regular ass person. Who gives a fuck? So now I realize if I actually was like famous, it might look bad or something like, oh, you used to be a custodian. But that's not where I come from. I don't come from giving a fuck about shit like that. That's the best job I ever had. Just keeping it 100. Motherfucking that best job I ever had. More freedom. You ain't got someone over your neck on your back like when I worked at Sears or Target or these public ass fucking those places. I hated working. Any that type of shit. That was way worse than what I'm doing now. I got paid less. You always got someone over your shoulder. There's never any time to sit and relax, take your breaks whenever you want. So the job I have now, motherfucker, call me a toilet cleaner. I'm telling you right now, dog. If you knew better, you would do better. That job is underrated. I wish somebody would have told me about this job when I just got out of high school or something, because this is dope. But clearly I got a lot more potential than that, but I'm not ashamed of that, dog. You know what I'm saying? But moving to the co-main event and the main event, though, why we got fucking Oscar in here, on his favorite channel, clearly, because this is a dude that has been, Oscar's been around since a lot before a lot of the full-time family. Oscar's almost a day one hitter, and this motherfucker's still rocking. That's kind of, what I'm saying? That's letting me know we're doing something right. For the people that don't even like the channel to stick around, a lot of the times you get tired of shit. You get burnt out. I'm surprised there's not more people that haven't, that have been. I'm surprised there's as many people that have been around from day one. Because that means we're kind of doing something right, kind of keeping it somewhat new and doing some new shit. Because I don't listen to everybody that I listened to last year. Sometimes shit gets old, shit gets boring, shit gets tiresome. So, I mean, the fact that the trolls that don't like the channel, they're still here, and we must be doing something right. Shout out to fucking Oscar. Fuck Oscar. MMA, all right, there he is. We got him. He said, yeah, clean my toilet. I tell you what, I swear to God, I'm a working man, bro. Give me, like I told that motherfucker that wants to fight me, 5,000 to show, and I'm in there. I don't give a fuck, dog. This is another thing that people don't realize. You calling me a toilet cleaner likely means you got a dirty-ass fucking toilet. You probably got rotten ass and all type of shit. Because I know before I got this job, I didn't know I didn't even know I didn't clean my bathroom like that. You know what I'm saying? After I became an adult and all of that shit, I wasn't always just looking around. Like, I didn't notice whenever shit was not as clean as it could be. Now my shit is clean, bro. So you telling me you probably got a dirty-ass toilet unless your motherfucking mom cleans it for you or your girl, which I doubt. If you got all this time to troll me, you probably ain't even got no motherfucking girl. So you probably got a dirty, you know what I'm saying? You got a dirty-ass house, nigga. You act like, and on top of that, we don't just clean toilets, by the way, just full disclosure. We do all type of shit, top scrub floors. We motherfucking get tile. We take wax off of floors. We redo all that shit, motherfucking the carpet, clean the carpets. We do a lot more than cleaning toilets, dog. You know what I'm saying? So my whole house is a lot cleaner than yours. I'll tell you that much, you dirty motherfucker. Should I hit this troll with the wrench or the hot band, said Forward Thinking. I mean, shit, I hit him. He can get hit with the ban, honestly. Yeah, actually, yeah, we got to hit him with the ban just because of his name. I don't care about what he's saying, but the name is like free promotion. I'm not trying to promote that other guy's Patreon. So even though this is just a troll, that name's got to go. You better come back, MMA Fast Topics, and we can entertain that shit all day. Hashtag hit him with the motherfucking wrench. Bah! 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 He's out of here. All right, co-main event, we had Corey Anderson versus Glover Teixeira. Corey Anderson using his wrestling to control the fight. This was a fight where I felt like Corey Anderson could win it with his wrestling as long as he avoided the KO. Glover Teixeira definitely has the power to knock light heavyweight out. We've seen that. He's a veteran of the sport. He's got the skills to do it. But Corey Anderson was able to come in and protect his neck, not get KO'd, win this fight via unanimous decision. Big win for Corey Anderson, as I believe this actually puts him into the top 5 of the division. So Corey Anderson, very strong wrestler in the light heavyweight division. He for sure will he'll probably be fighting again sometime this year, you know what I'm saying, and a top 10 ranked opponent for sure. So we'll see where he goes from here, where Glover goes from here. Big win by Corey Anderson, who took the fight on short notice after Ilir Latifi was out. Then, of course, Anthony Lionheart Smith. I'm still thinking about that knockout of Shogun, y'all. Holy fuck. Am I the only one that knew Shogun was knocked out on his feet before that other hit came? Like, I knew the ref couldn't have did nothing about it, but, like, I just saw Shogun, whenever he was against the fence, I was like, oh, yeah, he's out. Like, he's already out. You know what I'm saying? But I could tell he was still standing up because his back was against the fence. So it was just one of those super unfortunate situations where you get knocked out and you don't fall down, so everyone doesn't know you're knocked out. So Anthony Smith cracks you with one more good one. Whew! That was a motherfucking brutal KO, dog. Anthony Smith coming through, letting everybody know he is not only a knockout, a guy that can, you know, I don't even want to call him a knockout artist. I don't even want to put that in his repertoire. But he has knocked out 6 of his last 7 opponents, so he definitely, there's an art to it. So Anthony Smith, not just a knockout artist, though, at middleweight, moved up after that loss to Thiago Santos and knocked out Rashad Evans, Shogun, back-to-back legends of the sport. Anthony Smith could seriously be looking at an interim title fight. And UFC 228 would honestly make a great spot for it because I'm just doing some of the research for this fight. I mean, this is something that I saw. Check this out. Anthony Smith out of Corpus Christi, Texas, United States. Guess where UFC 228 is, family? You got that right, motherfucking Texas. And guess what else they need? A title fight. Now, it's no guarantee Anthony Smith gets it just because he's from Texas, but he's also a top contender now after knocking out Shogun. Now, he's not in the top 5 like Corey Anderson just put himself in, which is unfortunate, but Anthony Smith has a lot of momentum on top of knocking out 2 veterans and on top of Daniel Cormier said Shogun might get a title shot, right? That's why Anthony Smith feels like he kind of deserves a title shot as well. He's like, DC was talking about fighting Shogun before I even fought Shogun. So what happens if I beat Shogun? Are you going to fight me, DC? Or what goes on? And that's why, just on the earlier subject of ducking, you know, it's funny that Daniel Cormier and some of these other people kind of feel like Gustafsson is ducking. But to be fair, DC said he was going to fight Shogun. How come you won't fight any other light heavyweights? How come, okay, if you're pissed off at Gustafsson, how about you fight Anthony Smith? You were going to fight Shogun. He just knocked out Shogun. So how about you fight Anthony Smith? Or is this where people say DC's ducking Anthony Smith for saying that Shogun's ducking Anthony Smith? You see all of this. It's literally like a game of duck, duck, goose. Who's ducking who? Who's ducking who? Who's ducking who? And a lot of the times it boils down to people just trying to get a bigger payday. But with that being said, Anthony Smith is from Texas. He should now be the number 7, number 8 ranked light heavyweight in the world. He's got a case to fight for the title. Now, is he going to get to jump over Jan Blachowicz and fight Gustafsson? Who knows? But with that being said, all I know is the UFC needs a title fight for UFC 228. And maybe we could get a light heavyweight interim title fight. Because one thing Daniel Cormier did say is that he's not fighting Gustafsson. He made that clear. All right, Gustafsson, you want to, call out my teammate Rockhold right after he gets knocked out? You want to talk about you'll fight me at light heavyweight even though I got broken hands? You'll even come up to heavyweight and fight me? But you want to turn down these other fights? Well, now I'm not fighting you. So Daniel Cormier found his reasoning for not giving Gustafsson a rematch. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a fan of Daniel Cormier, but I don't really like that. You'll fight Shogun, but you won't fight Gustafsson for these whatever reasons. It's like, let's just say we all know. Let's just say it was 100% fact. Gustafsson just wanted a title fight. It's got nothing to do with him ducking fights. He just wants a fucking title fight. And I think that's fair to say. I mean, he said, okay, if I fight Rockhold, how about an interim title fight? Gustafsson has let it be known that he wants a title fight. I don't think that's news to people. So with that being said, if that's the case, kind of makes sense for Gustafsson to turn down these other 3 guys who aren't going to put him closer to the title fight. But now you got the champion saying, I'm not going to fight you for doing that. So it's like Gustafsson wasn't going to get to fight Cormier regardless. Because even if Gustafsson fought fucking Anthony Smith at 228, if he doesn't come out of the fight unscathed, when does he get to fight Daniel Cormier? Is Daniel Cormier like, all right, since you beat Smith, now I'll fight you? We've heard Cormier talk about how they don't do great business in the past. So Cormier, in my mind, he's kind of just giving himself a reason to wait for the big payday that is Brock Lesnar. But, I mean, I think if the fans really wanted to put it down on Cormier and put it to him, you could say, hey, man, how about you fight Smith? Since Gustafsson won't, fuck Gustafsson, you know what I'm saying? You won't fight Gustafsson. We hear you, DC. How about you do? Hey, UFC 228 needs a title fight. Daniel Cormier versus Anthony Smith. Let's get it. Let's fucking go. You were going to fight Shogun. But, you know, that question's not really being asked as much, so it is what it is. But, yeah, man, huge win for Anthony Smith. We'll see what happens. He could have put his name in line for a title fight with that win. No guarantee. He's definitely in the top 10 of the light heavyweight division, though, and it was definitely a big win. So maybe Anthony Smith doesn't get a title shot since he doesn't get to fight Gustafsson, but it's still a possibility. It's a possibility for sure. So, moving on. We'll just cover the upcoming fights. We're just going to look at the card. I'm not doing the predictions or anything. We do got Nick Newell fighting on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series tomorrow, actually. That's something big happening. I'll be watching that card likely. But as far as the next actual UFC card, it's going to be UFC on Fox 30 in Calgary, Canada. And boy, is it stacked. We got Alvarez versus Poirier for the main event. A fucking amazing fight. This is a fight that could literally, if Conor McGregor and Khabib weren't doing their thing at the top of the division where, you know, whatever that is, just the 2 most popular fighters fighting in the biggest fight ever, you know what I'm saying? Are they necessarily the best fighters in the world? I mean, yeah, we'll give them that, but if it was just between me and you hardcore MMA fans, I think it's kind of hard to say that at this point. I mean, especially with guys like fucking Tony Ferguson, Eddie Alvarez, and Dustin Poirier down here. Conor McGregor and Khabib are definitely beasts. They're savages. They do their thing, but their inactivity is just disappointing. You know, the way that this lightweight division has been playing out for a while, it's been disappointing. Good thing that's all coming to an end soon, though, because hopefully they'll be fighting at the end of the year. But, I mean, think about it. We had Conor McGregor tying up the division for what? Fucking 500 days, I think he went without defending that title. So he tied up the lightweight division for 500 days or 450 or 420, however many days Conor McGregor broke that record. So he tied up the division for that long. And then the next champion is Khabib. And Khabib, he ended up fighting Al Quinta, not his fault, but he fought the number 10th ranked guy to be the champion, which means Tony Ferguson got stripped, which that's another shitty situation. Tony Ferguson is for sure one of the best fighters in the division, but after his injury, he was stripped. So now our undisputed champion is Khabib, who beat the number 10th ranked guy, and then he's likely going to be fighting Conor McGregor, who's also hasn't been fighting. So it's just hard for me to know that they're the best fighters in the world because we haven't got to see Khabib against Eddie Alvarez. We didn't get to see Khabib versus Tony Ferguson. You know, those are matchups that Khabib could win, but we don't know. We have seen Khabib ragdoll the most recent strikers he's got to face, but that's the thing. It's a kind of a good matchup for Khabib. So Michael Johnson, very talented fighter, for sure, can ice dudes. More of a striker. Edson Barboza, for sure, can ice dudes. He made fucking Kevin Lee do the stanky leg. We know Edson Barboza's dangerous, but he's more of a striker. Al Quinta, more of a striker. So it's just unfortunate that we don't get to know for sure, as hardcore fans, who's the best lightweight in the world. Is it Conor McGregor? We don't know. He only fought one lightweight, and since then he hasn't fought in the division. Is it Khabib? Very well could be. He's 26-0, dominant grappling, but we just haven't got to see him against the best lightweights in the world yet. We got to see him against 2 of the best strikers, but shoot, Edson Barboza was a bigger win than Al Quinta. You know, it didn't get you the title, but it was a higher-ranked opponent. So Unfortunate situation. And then on top of that, Habib has to be inactive as the champion. It's like, god damn. Conor was just out for 500 days. Now Habib's got Ramadan. And you've got fighters that fight through Ramadan. Shout out to Bilal Muhammad. He fought and won through Ramadan, so it kind of makes it look a little worse on Habib. It kind of looks like an excuse. It's like you definitely have some fighters that are hungry out here fighting through Ramadan. If they're trying to become the champion, if they're just trying to show they're the best in the world, they motherfucking eat and train in the daytime. I don't know the specifics, but when they're not eating, then they wait till they eat to train. Like, there's some way that they do it. Like, it's been proven the fighters can fight and win through Ramadan. So whenever you see that, it's like, we just got another inactive champion, you know? And it's unfortunate because that's the second inactive lightweight champion in a row in a very stacked division. So that's why this Poirier versus Alvarez fight could be a title fight. These guys are two of the best fucking lightweights in the world. But even fighting this fight, there's no guarantee you get a title shot. There's a very real chance that whoever wins this fight has to fight Tony Ferguson next. Yo. It is what it is, though. You know what I'm saying? Money talks. And Habib and Conor McGregor are at the top of the lightweight division. And they also are going to bring the most money. So I don't think the UFC minds that. So with that being said, more money, more money. Moving on to the co-main event, Jose Aldo versus Jeremy Stephens. Another great fight. Holy smokes, if Jeremy Stephens can win this fight in impressive fashion, he could for sure jump the line to a potential title shot. Who's it going to be against? We don't know. It could be against Brian Ortega. It could be against Max Holloway. His next fight might be not a title fight against Frankie Edgar because Jeremy Stephens isn't the guy that turns down fights. He's not a guy that says no. If he wins a fight and the title's not next and the UFC says, hey, you want to fight Frankie Edgar? Fuck it. Let's go. Jeremy Stephens isn't a guy that turns down fights. He's a guy that no matter if it's for the money or whatever the reason is, you're never going to accuse Jeremy Stephens of ducking. So that's a great fight with the former champion and kingpin Jose Aldo. Looking forward to that fight, of course. Dope-ass co-main event. Former champion Joanna Jacek versus Tisha Torres. That's 1, 2, 3 former champions all on the same card. Joanna, Eddie Alvarez, and Jose Aldo, strawweight, featherweight, lightweight champions. None of them are champions anymore, but they're all on this card, so that's fucking stacked. If any of these fighters were still champions, it's likely that they're headlining pay-per-views or something, and they're not even on this card. But the fact that they're not the champion anymore, they're on cards like this. And that actually goes to our Nico Montano conversation as far as ducking, you know, people feeling like she's ducking Valentina Shevchenko, which could be the case. But it's like, look, if you're the champion, you're getting talked about which pay-per-view are you going to get put on. You know, what pay-per-view am I fighting on? Am I getting pay-per-view points? You know, when you're a champion, you get a lot bigger opportunities. And then when you're not the champion anymore, you're fucking around and you're not even the co-main event. You know, how many pay-per-views has Joanna Jacek been the co-main event or the main event for? How many times did she defend her title? And now it's like you lose the belt and you're no longer that headliner. That belt really brings a lot to the table. So when you're Nico Montano and you're the champion, you're probably getting more opportunities. So you don't want to lose your belt as fast as possible. You know, like, I just became the champion. Let's fight Valentina tomorrow so I can be the champion for all of one day. Or do I want to be able to, you know, be the champion for like 8 months? Yeah, you know, I got a couple injuries I got to deal with, boom, boom. But yeah, I still was the UFC champion for 8 months, you know. So but this is just kind of, you know, pointing that out to me because Joanna Jacek, shoot, it's kind of hard to envision her, for one, not the champion, but after Rose Namajunas beat her twice, it is what it is. You're officially Joanna contender, you know. I mean, everyone knew her as Joanna champion. It's almost like a new person here. This is Joanna contender. I can't wait to see how she comes back and looks in this fight. But it's going to be a tough fight versus a very hungry fighter. Tisha Torres knows very good goddamn well if she wins this fight, she could be next in line for the title. I hear you, Jessica Andrade. I know you're a mini cyborg. I know. But this is the UFC, and you don't always get guaranteed a title fight. Even the interim champion isn't guaranteed a title fight all the time. So even if Jessica Andrade wins her fight, I believe this coming up weekend, who does she fight? Jessica Andrade taking on Karolina Kowalkiewicz, actually at UFC 228. Even if she wins that fight, there's no guarantee she gets the title fight. And I say Tisha Torres has a chance. Now, if Joanna wins, yeah, more of a chance for Jessica Andrade because Joanna already fought Rose twice. Well, Tisha Torres has fought Rose twice, but she didn't lose both fights. She's got a win against Rose, and she also has a loss against Rose. So if Tisha Torres could beat Joanna Jacek, she would not only jump to the number 1 or number 2 contender, but she would also be that much closer to a title fight or a trilogy fight with Rose Namajunas. Now, this is a situation where I feel like Rose Namajunas is going to make the best decision, you know, the decision that MMA fans would approve of. That seems to be the Jessica Andrade. Like, you can't deny Jessica Andrade a title shot. But what if Rose Namajunas maybe talks with Pat Berry or whoever, her team, and they want the biggest fight possible? Hey, now that we're the champion and we're getting pay-per-view points, Tecia Torres, that fight probably sells a little better. The trilogy fight against Tecia Torres might sell a little better than Jessica Andrade. So that's when I feel like we'll have 2 number 1 contenders. If Tecia Torres beat Joanna, now that's going to be tough. Fucking hard fight. That might not even happen. But there's a big if. And if Tecia Torres can beat Joanna, we've got 2 number 1 contenders all of a sudden. And this shit just got tricky. But Joanna Jędrzejczyk probably going to be the favorite coming into this fight. The former champion. I mean, taking on the tiny tornado, Tecia Torres. Yeah, I see Joanna winning this fight off the top of my head, but who knows how she looks after that Rose Namajunas loss. Maybe she's got some, you know what I'm saying, some non-fighting issues. Maybe, you know, or like a complex, like I'm not the champion. Maybe that is fucking with her mental. We don't know how Joanna's going to look coming out of her, you know, in her first non-title fight. I mean, hopefully she looks great. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would assume, because she is still the former champion, you know. But at the same time, maybe the weight cut is just starting to be too much for her. Maybe Joanna Jędrzejczyk needs to move up a weight class. And if she has a bad weight cut coming into this, a bad weight cut can affect you going into any fight. And Joanna Jędrzejczyk is someone that has notoriously dealt with bad weight cuts. So that's just a situation that we're going to have to keep our eye on. But I think that makes this fight that much better. So with that being said, man, it is what it is. Moving to the last fight of the main event of the main card. Holy shit. Olivier Albin Mercier versus Alexander Hernandez. Olivier just lost his top 15 spot in the rankings, because I remember with his win over Evan Dunham, he just got into the top 15. But you know how that goes. If anybody gets a rank above you, somebody gets knocked down. So the number 15 fighter doesn't always stay the number 15th ranked fighter, especially if someone else enters the rankings. So Olivier lost his number 15 spot ranking, but he still has his win over Evan Dunham. Very impressive win. Alexander Hernandez coming off of a fucking very impressive, somewhat controversial win over Beneil Dariush. Both of these guys coming off of very impressive KOs that really put them on the map. I feel like OAM has kind of been on the map, though, before Alexander Hernandez, even though he's lower ranked. But Alex Hernandez kind of came out of nowhere with that short notice fight. It might have been his first fight in the UFC, that short notice fight versus Beneil Dariush. But he's got a very talented training camp. I believe he trains with Team Alpha Male and them at Elevation Fight Team. So, you know, he's definitely training with fucking killers if that is the case. So Alexander Hernandez is a monster for sure. Olivier Albin Mercier is one of the most well-rounded up-and-coming lightweights, I believe. He can wrestle you. He can knock you out. He can submit you. He's also from Canada, which is where this card's being held. So this is a big opportunity for OAM to get back in the top 15 and also remain on his 4-fight winning streak at home. So just off the top of my head, I might be giving the edge to Olivier Albin Mercier here, but definitely don't sleep on fucking my guy Alex Hernandez. He's a beast as well. I think that was his UFC debut, yeah, versus Beneil Dariush, but it was a short notice fight versus a top 15 ranked guy. Came in there and got the first round knockout before we even really saw much because it was so quick. But yeah, that's definitely another great fight for this card. So I'll do my predictions after we're done with the live show today. Like I said, I already did all of these predictions down here, but I still got to do the Fox prelims in the main card. But we're going to cover a little bit of news before we get out of here. Let's check out the chat, though. Cyborg vs. Perry says, Yoza ill. Make it happen, like old boy says. Hey, man, I talked about, let's see, who would be the best? Cyborg versus Perry, that's a mismatch. She probably had, like, Cyborg versus Demetrius. That'd be a good one. You know what I'm saying? She's a chick, but still, Demetrius Johnson's a little smaller, so I would like to see a fight like that. Demetrius Johnson versus Cyborg. Now, the only time that wouldn't work, and I don't know, maybe we start getting closer to that, but you know how it is. A man should never hit a female. Even if you're some little fucking shitty nerd that has no chance against Cyborg. She's a female, you're a male. No. And I don't necessarily, you know, believe in that, but I understand the thought. You know, usually that's more of a Captain Save-A-Ho perspective. That's not really how I was raised, even though I did see a lot of that domestic violence and stuff. I saw both sides of it. You know what I'm saying? a lot of the times you only see the woman's perspective. You know, there's two sides to every story. And a lot of the times people don't care about perspectives. You know, it's like, you're a man, she's a woman, God said no. You know, so a lot of the times that is the case, but I know some crazy chicks. I know some conniving, and I'm talking about personally, people that I care about, like my aunts, my mother, and like I know I legit have solved these domestic. I have a different take on it than a lot of people might, but I just, you know, that's just something that, you know, it's a touchy subject, so you don't always talk about that. But yeah, man, I got a different perspective on that. But I do think in this day and age, with equal rights and all of these things going on, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. I think we're getting closer and closer to that point. You know what I'm saying? With everything being equal, like, what's the difference? Like, there's no good excuse unless you're saying, like, what, a man is superior to a woman. Now, if you're arguing that, then maybe you say they can never fight. But if you're talking about equality, that's equality. You know what I'm saying? A fucking man versus a woman, that would be equality, especially if you're trading fighters, right? And that's the difference. Like, and this is my counter argument to it, because you can't tell me Chris Cyborg, there's not a bunch of guys. Chris Cyborg can beat the fuck out of so many guys on this planet. Professional fighters, probably not. She's probably not fucking up the men's featherweights in the UFC. But Chris Cyborg is probably beating my ass. She's probably beating your ass. She's probably beating your fucking brother's ass. You know what? Chris Cyborg's a trained fighter, like a lot of people aren't. Even if you're just a fucking boxer like Floyd Mayweather, Cyborg's probably going to whoop your ass. You know why? She's going to take you to the floor, so it doesn't matter how tough you are. A woman can beat your ass. I'm sorry to tell you. It depends on who you are, of course. Not every woman can beat your ass. But there's definitely a case that women can fight as good as, if not better than men in some cases, like Cyborg, or even Amanda Nunes. And I'm not just using Cyborg as an outlier. We can take this to fucking Amanda Nunes. I mean, Amanda Nunes, there's a lot of guys' ass she's going to beat as a professional fighter. When so I think that evens things out. And then when you add in the day and age of equality of that we're in 2019, you know, when we were growing up, it was a little different. You know, there was men and then there was women. You know, even when you read the Bible, it's something my dad always talked about. You know, the man is the head of the household and the woman is the tail. Like they say that in the Bible. And so a lot of people feel like that. You know, men and women are different. They're not equal. But in 2018, with the equality, you have to be open to that conversation. And I'm open to that conversation, but I know it's still met with some resistance because there's some people like, no, no, no. I don't care if it's Cyborg. I don't care if it's Amanda Nunes. I don't care if a bitch has a gun to your head. Never touch a female. And so those people are kind of hard, always hard to argue with. You're never going to get through to those people, you know. So, but that is what it is. Full-time MMA, sexist, racist, and woman beater. I'm not either one. I'm just a person that's always been open to both sides. I'm never just, oh, this person said this, so I believe it all the time. I'm just not like that all the time. And that's probably, I don't know if that's a good thing or whatever, but give him that forever wrench, boss. Who's in here? Somebody need that forever wrench? Oh, yeah, he needs the forever wrench. Motherfucking, where's he at? Where's he at? Remove, go to channel, report, put user in timeout, hide user on this channel. Is this Dr. Phil? Motherfucker, this is just, we're talking MMA, and in the meantime, in between time, other shit is popping up. Bro, I'll tell you what this is. This is full-time MMA. Who knows what the fuck we're going to be talking about? We might be talking about motherfuckers ducking. We might be talking about music. One day, we might be talking about shit. Tekashi 6ix9ine just got his ass whooped yesterday. Y'all want to talk about that? He got pistol whipped and kidnapped and all of this shit. Mr. Test My Motherfucking Gangster World Tour. That shit is over, dog. We could talk about that. We could talk about a lot of shit, homie. Fuck you talking about? And we might get on some Dr. Phil shit. And if you ain't into it, you know what you can do? Troll, because you're a troll. You've been a troll since the beginning. It's crazy how you weren't a fan of the channel from the beginning, yet you're still around, and you're talking about this Dr. Phil shit. What the fuck are you here for? Why aren't you clicking on... It's Monday. You can be... there ain't no way you watch the whole MMA Hour and Ariel Helwani's whole MMA show. There's so many places you could be other than on my motherfucking channel right now if you don't like what we're talking about. So, eat a dick, dog, and now make a new account because you can't speak on that one anymore. Fuck ya. 6ix9ine ain't never took no L, said MMA Addict. No, he definitely took a big fat-ass L yesterday. Fat-ass L. And 6ix9ine's my motherfucking dog. You know what I'm saying? I ain't one of those guys that take him serious, like everything he says serious. Do I think Tekashi 6ix9ine is some motherfucking gangster? No. No. He's doing some shit, respectable shit. I see he's trolling on a whole nother level, but this motherfucker's got security. You know how much easier it is to troll on that higher scale when you got security with you everywhere you go. You know, so I respect 6ix9ine, you know, because also the comedy part of it. A lot of the shit he does is so funny. A lot of it's funny to me. But a lot of the people I know, they don't fuck with the shit 6ix9ine does, because when you know people that actually are from that environment, and 6ix9ine's doing a lot of shit that will get you fucked up. A lot of the shit 6ix9ine's doing, it's setting motherfuckers up for failure, I feel like, because, you know, running your mouth like that, you can get fucked off. And especially going, you know, talking about people's dead friends and dead relatives and disrespecting gang culture and all of that shit. You know, trolling is one thing, but you know, he took it to a whole nother level, to the point to where it's like, yo, even trolls don't take it that far. So, and then whenever he comes out talking about fucking, I ain't never took no L, ain't never anybody ever gonna snatch my chain, never, 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 and it happens, that's a L, I'm sorry. You can't just give him a W for everything. I gave 6ix9ine a whole lot of W's. He got a lot of W's out here. But he took an L yesterday. His shit is still swollen. And then on top of that, bro, you were getting fucking robbed and you ran them back to your house. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we need all the chains or you're dying. Out of boom, 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 boom. And you take them right to where your baby mama and your baby are staying and give up the chains. And nigga, what happened to Test My Gangster? What the fuck? You were supposed to go out like XXXTentacion, rest his soul, but that's actually a motherfucker that wasn't out here trolling all day talking about these gangs and people's dead homies, but he still was with it. He wasn't going to just get robbed either. You know what I'm saying? He was like, hey, I'm not going, fuck that. I'm not just giving it up. So he got shot trying to defend his shit. Do you think fucking XXXTentacion would have took the robbers back to his family where his girl or family was? Fuck no, dog. He's going out. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I feel. So I fuck with 6ix9ine, and I know he don't catch L's. It's rare that 6ix9ine catches an L. But that's the thing. Anybody can get touched, bro. That's why even if you're trolling, you got to know when you're trolling. You can't just troll, and you got to know how to troll, or you can get fucked up. Because trolling does piss people off. What trolling is, really, is just saying shit to piss people off. And a lot of the time, we can take this on some Dr. Phil shit, but we're not going to go all the way on some Dr. Phil shit. A lot of the time, trolls are really fucking depressed people that just say shit to make people feel as bad as them. You know, that a lot of the time that is the case, regardless or not. If you know anybody that's a troll, I'm going to tell you right now, there's 8 out of 10 chance that they're probably pretty fucking depressed. And that's just facts. So, with that being said, man, still, Tekashi 6ix9ine took that shit to a whole nother level, man. And now he got caught up, got fucked up. And if he's not holding the L in that situation, please tell me who is. Is it the robbers who are walking around with the fucking spinning 6ix9ine chain right now? They ain't taking the L. Who's taking the L? Somebody's taking the L in this situation. And probably the guy that said he can't be touched. It'll never happen. He's the king of New York. And then on top of all that, it happened in your own city. It happened in New York. That's why it should have been happened in New York. I'm surprised he's been talking all this shit and one of his fucking corrupt ass homeboys ain't tried to rob him yet, dog. I don't know if y'all know how it fucking goes, but you can be broke as fuck and your boys will still try and rob you if they feel some type of way. You can't have all the money. If you've got all the money and you're around a bunch of broke people, you literally have to pay for them as well. And as soon as you say no, they're going to fucking come after you. You can think you're doing right. You can think, oh shit, I just gave my boy $1,000. I just did this. I just bought my boy, I just gave him money so he can feed his daughter this week. Well, guess what? His daughter needs fed next week. And whenever you don't, the minute you say no, the minute you don't give your boys that handout, they're going to look at you and they're going to start to feel some type of way. And like, oh, how can we rob him? So I'm surprised it just now happened to 6ix9ine, especially with all them niggas he was rolling with and all these Treyway motherfuckers. I'm surprised none of them been set him up from the inside and he ain't shit happened in New York. Ain't all this King of New York talk? Nigga, you know how big New York is? Yo, this shit has been coming. That shit has been coming. I don't know how he's walking away with the motherfucking W here. Leon Dubson said haters are still worse, in my opinion. Can't see nobody happy for shit. I think haters, trolls, it's really a lot of the same thing. I mean, haters is one thing, but yeah, really misery loves company, bro. So anybody hating on you or trolling you, a lot of the times they're just miserable people themselves, you know. I mean, and I know that from experience, man. I'm telling you, I know that from experience. Yeah, a lot of y'all remember I used to motherfucking say you can't troll King Troll because I was a big ass troll, you know what? Because that whenever life seemed like a joke, you know what I'm saying? I was at the point to where I kind of I lost hope, right? I didn't think there was going to be some fucking YouTube, some not very smart person on YouTube who shuts his channel down and gave me that opportunity to see, you know, to the, what's it called? Not the opportunity, but the fucking, yeah, the opportunity, but there's another word I'm looking for. The supply. You know, there's a supply and demand. The demand. I didn't think there was going to be a demand for me talking MMA, but some dumbass shut his channel down, and I was like, hey, y'all want to hear me talk? And it just so happened people were interested in what I had to say. But before that, man, I thought I was about to die when I was 40 years old because of no motherfucking health insurance, no future, no, not potential. I got potential, but shit just starts to fucking swallow you. Life just starts to follow you. You get behind here, then you get behind here, and then it's like, well, goddamn, how do I start climbing out of this shit? You know, there ain't no helping hand to reach out. There ain't no, you know. So I was about to just be content, like my brother is kind of right now, and I don't want to put him on blast, but he's a person that's content. If he works a 9 to 5 for the next 40 years, that's just life, bro. That's just what happened. That's just everyone don't get lucky, you know. So that's the route I was about to be on, and it fucking sucks because I'm a very cerebral person, and so just thinking at work, just thinking about how much more I could be doing, that shit sucked. But that's almost where I was, so that's why I was a troll, because like life was shitty at one point. I was dealing with a lot of fucking depression and shit like that. So I understand whenever that was pointed out to me that a lot of trolls are usually depressed or miserable people. That's real facts. You would be hard pressed to find a troll that actually wasn't like dealing with that type of shit. For that's 100% fact. So that's some real shit though. We're gonna get off our Dr. Phil shit for a second. Talk about some MMA. We've already been going for about an hour and 50 minutes, but hey, it is what it is, man. It's Monday. We're just vibing. But like I said, I appreciate everybody though that's been listening, man. The fact that y'all are still listening to me, that's pretty cool, man. And you know, like I said, it's Monday. There's a lot of shit going on in the MMA world, so appreciate it. But Luke Rockhold 2 versus Chris Weidman is in the works for UFC 230. I believe this would be Madison Square Garden. Now, this is a fight I've honestly wanted to see for a while, ever since that whole Bisping deal. You remember? I mean, I believe Luke Rockhold was supposed to be fighting Weidman. Weidman was injured, and Bisping stepped up, shocked the world. And that's where the fucking middleweight division went crazy. Bisping became the champion. GSP came back, and the whole division was different for a little while. But now we actually might get to see this rematch that we've been waiting for, Rockhold versus Weidman 2 at UFC 230 in Madison Square Garden. This would be a fucking great fight. But I also recently just saw Paulo Costa calling out Chris Weidman for UFC 230. But lucky for Chris Weidman, you know, looks like since he's a New York native, he's likely going to be on this card. You know, whoever he's fighting, it's a big opportunity for Weidman. You know, Madison Square Garden. A lot of people like to fight at Madison Square Garden. Who will his opponent be? Not 100% sure. I would personally like to see this fight. Rockhold versus Weidman. I mean, Costa versus Weidman, that's a dope fight as well. And actually, I don't even know if that was being targeted or in the works, but it's just a fight that's been thrown out there, you know, in the ethos, rumors. I seen Paulo Costa share the desire on Instagram, I believe yesterday or the day before. He shared a picture of him and Weidman like, hey, what's up with Weidman UFC 230? So Chris Weidman is a guy that definitely people would like to fight at UFC 230. But Paulo Costa or Luke Rockhold? I like the Luke Rockhold fight. And as far as Paulo Costa is concerned, man, what's up with Israel Adesanya? You know what I'm saying? I would like to hear what's going on with that. Looks like the UFC doesn't want that fight. But it's like, that's another situation, man. Like, people usually always put it off on the fighters, bro. UFC, they're taking that fight away from us. Adesanya versus Costa, Adesanya called Costa out. You know, it's not even like we're not even giving Costa the opportunity to duck in that situation. Adesanya wants to fight Costa, but the UFC's like, nah, we got other plans. But it's like, bro, we wanted to see that fight too. I wanted to see fucking Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa. What's up with that fight? You know what I'm saying? So we'll see who they're fighting next, but this is a fight. Luke Rockhold, man, former middleweight champion. Chris Weidman, former middleweight champion. Let's see. ESPN now reports that this match is in the works for UFC's return to Madison Square Garden at UFC 230 on November 3rd. The booking comes as a bit of a surprise, as Rockhold has been sounding quite clear about making his move up to 205-pound division, and even sounded like a surefire plan as he was slated to face Alexander Gustafsson at UFC 227 before injuring his leg. But it looks like the longtime AKA staple has one more 185-pound weight cut left in him. So, the situation, that is interesting. Rockhold talked about moving up. But he's like, all right, I'll go back down to middleweight. I'm not going to talk too much on that situation, fighters moving up and down divisions and stuff, because, I don't want to dig too deep into that. And it's always a weird situation for me. But, yeah, man, whenever a fighter wants to move up a weight class after a loss or a couple of losses and then they don't, it's like, so were you just waiting on the right fight? Like, you know what I'm saying? What happened to not wanting to cut weight anymore? We've seen that before. Who was it? I don't remember if it was Gastelum or Cerrone. One of those guys who recently moved up, they're like, hey, I'm going back down. But the UFC was like, no, we kind of like you better up here at this weight class, But weird situations sometimes. But with that being said, Max Holloway's team has denied the rumors that he suffered a stroke before UFC 226. But, just real quick on that other situation, Chris Weidman is also a guy. He's been dealing with a surgery. And he was, I believe, going to be coming back, but his surgery, there was a setback, so he had to be out even longer. So now he's going to potentially be fighting at Madison Square Garden, but both of those guys are coming off of injuries. Weidman's coming off of his thumb injury. Rockhold's coming off of that leg surgery, and he also bad weight cuts. So probably not the ideal time for the fight to happen, as neither one of them, we don't know if they're going to be 100% healthy. It's not a title fight, but still a big fight that we wanted to see. So Weidman versus Rockhold, I'll watch the fight, but I don't even know if it has major title implications. It could. The winner of that fight could fight the winner of Gastelum Whitaker, but the title contention is kind of already tied up right now. Ivan Hernandez said Costa versus Full Time. That's going to take $10,000. You know what I'm saying? $5,000 if you just want me to fight some fucking scrub or some random YouTuber where I actually probably knock that motherfucker out. But if you just want me to go in there and get my fucking egg scrambled, bro, that's going to cost $10,000. $10,000 to just watch Paulo Costa just clean my motherfucking clock. I'm telling you right now. I'm taking it, bro. I'm taking the motherfucking money. Life-changing shit. I got full-time via. I clearly felt the tap. Hey, I don't even want. I'm going to tell you guys this, but don't tell nobody else. If I ever get into a fight with a YouTuber, a fighter, a fan, anything to where, if someone wants to put it on contract, because I'm down. I don't give a fuck. But if that situation ever happens, I'm telling you right now, you better hope that they put it in the clause. Like, you can't submit before getting punched, or, you can't tap out before, before. There better be a before clause. Because if all I got to do is show up to the fight, and once I walked in the octagon, I earned my $5,000, I'm telling you right now, let Paulo Costa be on the other side of the octagon. I'm going to tap before that motherfucker can get to my side of the cage. I'm leaving with my $5,000, and all of you can eat a dick. You just wanted to see me fight Paulo Costa? Should have put that in the motherfucking contract. I'm not stupid. You know what? I'll pull a Rickles so quick. I'm from Kansas, too. It's in me to pull a David Rickles. I'm telling you right now, I will do that shit. Loopholes. I'm telling you, loopholes. I'm out of there before I was in there. But put it in the contract, you got to at least get punched 3 times before you tap. Or I'm fucking gone. I'm spending that $5,000. I'm catching up on my shit, and we in the game. Getting my monitor. I'm getting the motherfucking... I'm telling y'all, man, I'm willing to do some shit, you know what I'm saying, to get out of this situation. And I'm not far, man. And this is the situation, like, it's not like I don't have the potential. There was a point in my career before I fucked it off. Not my career, but I actually got like a 4.0 in my little stint of being a college dropout. I got good-ass motherfucking grades. I'm not just some retard out here. I shouldn't have used the R word. God damn. But you know the point, man. I'm not just some fucking dud out here. I actually know a little bit of something. So you better put it. I'm reading that contract, and you better put it in there. I'm out of there. I'm in there with the money, and I'm out of there, and I'm using that to motherfucking turn this into like a full-time fucking castle, a studio. I can't wait for the future full-time family. It's a great time to be an MMA fan, and it's a great time to be a part of the full-time family. I'm not even mad at that, said Stamina MC. Just because you're on YouTube, people want to fight you. I'm telling you, bro, and you all got the opportunity. I'm just waiting for that motherfucking right trust fund baby to want to fight me. Let a motherfucker with $20,000 in the bank want to fight me. Give me 5 of it and come get your W. Yo, full time, don't ever enter a fight for free. That's what I'm saying. Like, you had that other fucking clown on YouTube that wants to fight me. I'll break his motherfucking glasses, dog. I will fuck this guy up. But he wants to fight me and he's talking about, you gonna sign the contract? Like, you stupid fuck. We don't have a contract. He's literally telling people, like, oh, full time won't sign the contract. You haven't sent me no fucking contract. What are you talking about? But, and on top of that, if there was a contract, trust me, it would be signed. Because that motherfucker would have 5000 on it. I'm in there like swimwear. So, but yeah, man, but he said, no, if you really just wanted to fight and just show, you know, hey, we cover the sport, so you should want to fight. Hey, you silly bastard. If you just want to fight, why aren't you signed up at your local MMA gym? I mean, why aren't you just, if you just want to show you're tough, why aren't you just up there, you know, getting your fucking blue belt or something? Oh, that's right, because you're clout chasing. There's no clout in getting your blue belt. You can't go tell people that you fucking choked out a white belt and anyone give a fuck. Oh, okay, well then you better pay me. Like I said, I'm not just a complete fucking Momo out here. Full time, if dude is serious about that fight in Casey Mo, let me know. We can make an event. My people got a warehouse with kiddie events and everything. We down. I just think he had the funds to show up. And yeah, no, he don't have the funds. He really wants to fight in Kansas City. He said he'll even fly out there. I don't give a fuck, dog. I'll fly to where he is. If he pays for the ticket, nigga, I'm not even going to be paying for my ticket to Kansas City, bro. Like, I pull up my fucking bank account right now. I think it's a negative $64. So, any type of fucking YouTuber fight this guy, like, I'm all in, but I'm just telling you, I'm not going to be a part of any of the funding. None of the funding is coming from me. We got to fly to Kansas City, you got to cover the plane ticket. My fight purse, you're covering all of that shit, dog. That's all it is with me, man. I'm trying to motherfucking get out of the hole before I fall too deep in. You know, I'm not even that far in that joint. I'm telling you guys, but it is what it is. So, but I'm not going to just do it for funding. I got to put time into getting these YouTube pennies. I'm trying to get these motherfucking ad pennies, dog. I ain't got time to just be fighting some fucking 45-year-old virgin fat four-eyed fuck that wants to fight me because he thinks he can beat someone up for once in his fucking life. 40-year-old fat fuck. I mean, we can do that, though. I'll sell the fight. But hopefully, eventually, you're fucking... How old did that sorry bastard say he was? This fucking... I don't even want to talk about his son. Or Screech, whatever you want to call him. But he called his son into his goddamn stream and said, hey, look, this fucking guy thinks he can beat me up. What would your dad do to him? Dude, I don't want to bring your son into this. Don't fucking bring him in here to talk no shit, but I'm pretty sure your son's motherfucking grown. We could turn it into a motherfucking tag team match, dog. What the fuck you talking about, you big bastard? I'm just saying. Full time, start a gaming channel. See, I thought about that because that's the only thing I do in my spare time. I don't have much spare time, but I don't be watching TV shows. I still got to watch 2 episodes on Game of Thrones. That's how far I am behind. Way behind on Power. I ain't been watching TV. I ain't been playing no motherfucking games. I've been grinding on YouTube. But if there ever is a time that I feel burnt out from making videos, I might get 2 hours in on the game with my brother and my bro. You know what I'm saying? Just on the Xbox. But... And then if I could turn that into like Twitch or something, that would literally make 100% of my time productive. Because when I'm not grinding on YouTube, I would be grinding on Twitch. But at the same time, I feel like that would take away from the channel. I don't think a lot of motherfuckers give a fuck about my Twitch or you know what I'm saying? Or that's why I don't really go into gaming on here. Because I feel like that would kind of take away from the MMA part. But, I mean, that is an idea. Knuckle game just for shits and giggles, dickhead ting, family, loved ones, or the ability to walk away. Besides that, fights are for professionals and suckers. My motherfucking dog Stamina MC. That's what I'm full-time stink face. I've been a fan of Rikishi since I used to watch the motherfucking WWE. I'll knock him. No, I'm not gonna say I would stink face his son because that's kind of weird. But I think his son is like fucking 19. I mean, he's like a 45-year-old fucking virgin. Might not even be his son. It's probably his wife's, it's probably his illegitimate son, because I really don't think this motherfucker's had any pussy since pussy had him with his old big fat dumb ass. Don't be coming at me talking about a motherfucking fight, trying to make me look motherfucking weak, and you ain't got no motherfucking paper. And I ain't talking about paper as in money, I'm talking about paperwork. You didn't even send no motherfucking contract for you to be talking about me not signing the contract. You old A-view getting fat four-eyed fuck. And then you call me fat when you look like motherfucking Theodore the Chipmunk, you big bastard? Come on, dog. Not the one you want to fuck with. That's all I'm saying. Come on, dog. Seismic Shock said, full-time, you would have to fight in a gym and call it sparring. If you hurt him, it could get legal. Yeah, and I don't know where we'd have to fight. I'll fight his big fat ass in the motherfucking ball pit, dog. When you fight in the motherfucking buffet line, loser don't get to eat. I don't give a fuck. I'm just saying, don't be calling me out and clout chasing like you think you want smoke. Because if you want to fight, we can fight. That's one thing, but we're going to have to get paid for it. But if you just want to talk shit, dog, I'm not the one. I'm not the one. I will cut a promo on you better than Kobe Covington could have fucking scripted. And I know he's got some real scripters out there, but I'm just saying, dog, this is what I do. I talk that shit. And how does that help me? It don't. But it's entertaining. And that's why coming on the WWE, I used to love that shit. Before I had this YouTube channel, when I'm just talking shit after work on the Xbox, I'm talking big shit. I'm talking shit. You don't want to just trash talk with me, because I'm probably going to be fat, four-eyed, Theodore the Chipmunk-looking 45-year-old virgin fat fucking bastard who gave birth to Screech. I'm just saying. We run promotion at KC Elbows and Six Bows Dojos if we need more amateur. We need more amateur fighters, or if we do. We'll go Connor on his ass, dollies and everything, but we don't need no dollies. He might need a dolly, as in some fucking female attention, because he might be sexually frustrated. Maybe that's why he wants to fucking get in there. And he said some shit like, we can do judo, we can do jujitsu. You old big bastard, why the fuck do you want to just grapple with another man? If anything, MMA or boxing, I want to punch your old big weird ass dog. Now, if I was getting paid to do jujitsu and shit like that, I'd be in. But I'm not just trying to fucking go rub bellies and fucking arms and bump dicks with some fucking fat fucking YouTuber for no reason. For no fucking, you big bitch. Come on. Man, we gotta get off. My bad, full-time family. My bad, full-time family. He wants to test his wrestling. Motherfucker probably ain't getting out-wrestled by his son. What the fuck is he talking about? He ain't wrestling nothing but some motherfucking ho-hos, Twinkies, and remotes out of his motherfucking hand. He gonna call me out? And this nigga said like something like, I'm 35 years old. You got me fucked up, you old fat fuck. He told me he's like 45 years old. Bitch, I'm 27. Just because my shit's scruffy right now, nigga, that's because I'm broke and can't afford to go to the motherfucking barber. I might look like I'm 45, bitch, but I'm still young. 27, fuck your time at. But it is what it is. Full-time finna get wrestle-fucked by a YouTuber. Ugh, that just sounded nasty. That motherfucker looks like he stinks. You ever just saw a motherfucker that looked like he stinks? Ugh. How the fuck am I watching your fight companion and there's just a smell that comes out of nowhere, like through my fucking computer, dog? Ugh. The fuck? My family deep through KCMO. We got the venue. Stop hyping for this, LMAO. That's what I'm saying, man. I'll whoop his motherfucking fat ass in Kansas City for the world to see. It's nothing, man. It's nothing. This big bastard gonna call me out like he don't look like motherfucking Big Bird mixed with Theodore the Chipmunk. With motherfucking 4 eyes. And no hoes. Come on. Come on, family. Where are we going? 4 eyes and no hoes. I crack myself up sometime, family. Eddie Alvarez is explaining. Let's get back into this news. Eddie Alvarez is explaining why he's taking the risk of going into the final fight of the UFC. And by the way, if you were just entertained by that nonsense, you actually want to see me beat the fuck out of this guy, all I'm saying is, fuck with the GoFundMe. We're too broke, you know what I'm saying? I can't even pay for a bus ticket to Kansas City to whoop his ass if it was for free right now. So for the next 3 days, my dog, Yank My Dandy Doodle, will match every dollar donated. Fuck with your boy. We're at the bottom. We started at the basement and we're still like on the 3rd stair. We've came a long way in this year, family, but we got so much farther to go. You don't understand? It's going to take help. We got to get a motherfucking sponsor. We got to do some shit like that. If you got a business, $100 a month. I'm cheap as fuck. I don't even know how much that shit runs for. But 4 million views in a year, that's a lot of eyes on your motherfucking product. Fuck with your boy. I'm grinding. I'm grinding, family. Troll money is currently full-time plus 165. Yo, am I the underdog? Chill. Chill. No, man, fuck that big bastard. He does look like he might have some retard strength, but I'm telling you, I'm angle picking his ass and I'm fucking cutting him with these Curtis razor blades. Yo, I'm telling you, man, I'm fucking this guy up any way he wants it. He really don't want no smoke. I'm telling you. He got riled up by the trolls. They put a battery pack in his back, and then kind of like 6ix9ine, he got to talking. Bro, did you guys see, just real quick, on this 6ix9ine motherfucker, He got a big-ass lump on his eye, a lump on this side of his face after going unconscious twice, getting knocked out. And the same motherfucker that's always behind him, hyping him up, you don't bleed like these niggas bleed. We bleed different. Treyway! That nigga said, it's all good. We still gonna be talking shit. 6ix9ine just literally he almost got fucking robbed, pistol whipped, and killed, and you're telling him to keep talking shit? That's the type of shit he's got behind him, this big weird motherfucker over there. The people that are blocked from my channel are the people that watch him live stream. So, of course, they're over there saying, oh, fight full-time, fight fat time, fight full-time toilet cleaner. That's what they want to see because they can't say shit over here because they're probably fucking blocked for being trolls and disrespectful. So, of course, they want to see you fight me, man, but it's not wise. You got a family you got to think about, dog. All I got is me and my girl right now and my motherfucking dogs. We ain't got no kids yet. My kids ain't got to see what I'm going to do to you. But I'm probably going to have it on motherfucking tape just for when they get old enough. That was your daddy in there fucking that big fat four-eyed motherfucker up that called him out. Oh, white Cletus looking motherfucker. You going in on him. I'm not going in on him. He brought this on himself, man. I didn't come out looking for fucking fat ass with friends on YouTube. I never fucking knew this guy. He came out talking about my hat. I want to burn your hat. You big bitch, if you were just that mad at hats, you would probably have a couple charges by now, because just walking down the fucking street, whether you're walking through Walmart or wherever the fuck you're walking, there's all type of people with all type of different hats. If you were just getting irritated at hats, you would probably have fucking hit one of them dudes or fought one of them motherfuckers by now. It ain't the hat. It's the motherfucking, the subs, the views, and all that shit. I understand, man. We're growing fast. I get it. I don't know what that don't mean nothing yet. You're still better off than me, you big bastard. I guarantee you still got more than me, and you're fucking hating over here. You want to burn my fucking hat? Talking about how my hat fucking, it looks like my hat. Well, you have an Eskimo hat, bitch. I bet you my motherfucking hat smells better than that room. He said some shit like, have you ever washed your hat? You stupid bitch. I've showed my washer and dryer. And I've got multiple hats, multiple colors. Why are you worried about my hat instead of what you can be doing to make your situation better? You know, it really makes me angry. But respect to the grind. You noticed that's what all these trolls say when they come at me? They say some shit like motherfucking, they'll say, you know, I do respect the grind. If anything I'll say, you're consistent. And that's it? Is that it? You go, man. Y'all are going to make me lower the price on this ass whooping. Y'all are going to make me go from 5,000 to like 4,500. I'm really just, the more I think about it, the more I kind of just want to whoop his big four-eyed stinky ass. But it's all good, family. It's all good. Raccoon hats, sell them. Maybe I should bring back merch or something. But honestly, I don't like the idea of merch because to me, merch is expensive as fuck. Like, I don't buy clothes and shoes because that shit's expensive. So whenever I do get clothes, it'll be a pack of t-shirts or some shit like that. So to sell merch, that would be like a fucking, I don't know, like a $30 shirt or a $35 hat. It's like, dude, I would never buy, well, I never have. Maybe if I had money, it'd be a different story. Spend $35 on a fucking hat? That's rich people shit. So it's like, how can I expect people to buy merch? And then at the same time, if I'm like, you know, looking for a startup fund or anything like that, it's like, I feel that's when I would feel money hungry. And maybe that's wrong, but I feel like if I'm selling merch, I feel like that looks money hungry. And I don't want to look money hungry, you know what I'm saying? I just want a fucking sponsor to come out of nowhere like a fucking unicorn one day and shit to get good. But I don't know what, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to expect that or how it's all going to play out, but maybe I should sell merch. And maybe I should sell fucking hats. I mean, that is one of the things that stands out. He must have ass burgers. That motherfucker looks like he's ate a bunch of ass burgers. It looks like his breath smells like ass burgers. Eddie Alvarez explains why he's taking risk. All right, let's go on Full-Time Family. We've already been live for 2 hours. One of the longer shows, but we still got a few things to talk about. It is what it is. Full-Time. Give full-time hats to donations over 100 for a limited time. I tell you what, I'll never see this motherfucking hat or that hat again. Oh, that's a good idea. Like, the 2 top donators get my hats. But I don't know if motherfuckers want hats. Give full-time hats to donations over 100 for a limited time. I would do that. That's a good idea. But also, I've only got 4 separate hats. I got 1 raccoon hat, and then I got like 3 of the different colors of the Eskimo hats. But, I mean, that would only be 4 of them. But no, that's also another dope idea. And Some of you guys might remember this back when we were the first channel, dog. When we hit like 500 subs. When we hit 500 subs, I tried to do a giveaway. Just because I was like, yo, we're getting subs. Holy fuck, we're a YouTube channel. We got 500 subscribers. This is crazy. I was like, I got to do something, like, to keep people here. I don't want them to fucking hate me tomorrow or something, you know? So I was like, I had to reward people to stay here. Why is cutting out?
I don't know if I'm on my mobile data, but there was so much going on your channel, I had to go in there and be like, what the fuck is going on? Because you were sounding real funny over there.
Probably going to come back up now that I'm not over here.
Run downstairs and check on this food, but I'm trying not to distract you.
Oh, we're back. We're back. I plugged in the direct connect full-time family. We're good. But yeah, man, we went offline for a quick second, you know, because I wasn't direct connected. It was the issue we used to have. But we are back. But with that being said, that's probably a sign we need to cover these MMA topics and get out of here. We've probably been going too long today. What do y'all think? But let's see what's going on. Let's see. Let me pull this back over. Yo, we back. Are we back? But we're back, but it still went out. That's what's weird. It says we're back, but at the same time, it also says we're not. Full-time patch on the front of the raccoon. I'm not sure if I'm live right now. Are we live? One second, guys. I'm just seeing if we're still back. I got a red box, so I'm not sure why we have the red, but we do. So that might be the stream for today. Not 100% sure. She's going red and orange. Let's see. What is that? That was me. I was not direct connected, but now we are, so we should be back. We got some MMA topics to cover, some news. So to everyone that's still here, I appreciate it. I'm sure we probably lost half the people, but it is what it is. We're not here for numbers. We're here to talk MMA. So we're going to talk about the other MMA news going on. Maybe it's that fucking fat cuck, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's what it is. Let me chill. But no, that guy, he definitely looks like he knows how to hack a server or two, if you know what I'm saying. So with that being said, we're just going to cover the MMA news, and then we'll get out of here for the day. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow before. Actually, we might come an hour early tomorrow because Nick Newell's fighting. So I definitely want to catch the Contender Series tomorrow. But with that being said, Eddie Alvarez is explaining why he's taking the risk of going into his final fight of his UFC contract against Dustin Poirier. Can't believe that I was just over 2.5 hours late, yet been on here for 30 minutes. Damn, have we been going for that long? Yeah, new age fighters just playing chess with the rankings instead of fighting. Yeah, motherfuckers are playing chess with the rankings, you know? They're, yeah, for sure, Leon Dubison. Or for sure, Clayton Funky. Yeah, man, people are, they're trying to position themselves to get to the title fight and to get to money. People are trying to get to the biggest payday. It's not, oh, I'm scared of this guy, I'm scared of that guy, I'm scared of that guy. It's, I'm trying to get to the top, and how do I do that? You know? You can go on a 8-fight winning streak and still not get a title fight. So it's like, what the fuck? You know, am I just trying to get a concussion, CTE symptoms? Hey, it is what it is. We got to cover this news, though. Fuck it, man. Before we go red again. This is what Eddie Alvarez had to say about why he's taking this fight, even though before he said, I don't want to fight Poirier. I'm on the last fight of my contract. You know, Eddie Alvarez, before he accepted the fight on the dotted line, there was a little reluctance getting this fight booked. I mean, this is a fight that people wanted to see immediately after the no contest. But Eddie Alvarez, speaking with the MMA Hour, said, I don't think there's any reason why not to. That's why. I haven't been given any reason why not to. I guess that's the best I can say. If I was given enough where I thought, hey, it's not worth the risk, I'd say, okay, I'm not going to roll the dice here. This is very good. This is what I feel I'm worth, and I'm just going to keep going and going. But I haven't really been given a good enough offer to not take the risk that I'm willing to take. So, Eddie Alvarez is pretty much just saying he's cool with this deal. Maybe if it was too high of a risk and a low reward, then he wouldn't take the fight. But also, he's a fighter, you know. But this is changing tunes a little bit. So I don't know if I'm all the way into that explanation, because before there was definitely a little reluctance to get this fight with Dustin Poirier booked. Eddie Alvarez, you know, took the Ultimate Fighter Season 27 coaching job, as well as the Justin Gaethje fight before this Poirier rematch. Did he fight Pettis or was that Poirier? But yeah, there's definitely been a little reluctance on the side of Alvarez to get this rematch booked. But now he's saying, hey, it is what it is. I got no reason to not take the fight. He said, I think we get the deal done for sure. We're just not there yet. Talking about his new deal with the UFC. I know with the UFC, you never know when you strike a deal, but I'm patient. I've learned to be patient because in the past, I've gotten ahead of myself and maybe left a lot of money on the table. I don't know. I think what's fair is fair. In every fighter, it's a very individual thing. How much each fighter deserves or should get paid. I think I bring a lot of value, and when I fight, I make this company a lot of money, and I make the fans excited. I want to be shared with a little bit more than what I'm being shared with. That's all. So just want a little bit of bigger piece of the pie. You know what I'm saying? So, common thing. You know, fighters want more money, so not super reluctant to take that last fight. Now, with that being said, this is a little unusual from Eddie Alvarez. I don't really know exactly what's going on here, but I don't know if I'm not going to dig too deep into it, but I'll just say this. Eddie Alvarez was not always this open to not only fighting Dustin Poirier, but also to fighting his last fight on his contract. I believe at one point a couple of months ago, Eddie Alvarez came out and said he's not fighting until he gets a new contract. Because it's like, if Eddie Alvarez fought Dustin Poirier and lost, right? Then he would be a free agent coming off of a loss. He's already had a history with Bellator. He might not want to go back to Bellator, and that's the next best place. So whenever he came out and said, I'm not fighting until I get a new contract, it kind of made sense. Because it was like, okay, he's trying to secure his future, like a lot of these fighters. And then out of nowhere, Eddie Alvarez was like, all right, I'm fighting. And it's like, what? What changed? What changed? You know what I'm saying? And the only reason was like, oh, I'm just a fighter. It's like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Eddie Alvarez went from wanting a new contract to kind of acting like he has a new one as far as taking the fight, only having one fight left. Now, what is all up to that? I'm not sure. I'm not trying to go into no fucking UFC Mythbusters, you know, or no tinfoil hat time or nothing like that. Because honestly, I think that tinfoil hat is kind of what got me in trouble with YouTube. You know, maybe I'm wrong. But after, I just remember one time specifically, I talked about honey dicking. I'm not going to go back into it. But after that is when I started noticing a lot of weird shit happening. So maybe not. Maybe it is what it is. But still, like I said, that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to fuck up the UFC's business whenever they're trying to put together a show and sell fights and these big drama shows. And I'm skeptical. I'm not trying to come out here and blow holes in that. I'm just asking questions as a fan. So why would Eddie Alvarez switch up all of a sudden? I'm not sure. But I'm not going to speculate either. Even though maybe I would on a different channel or if we were just in private. But yeah, man, it is what it is. Eddie Alvarez has switched his tune, and that's the reason he's given. I'm a fighter, man. I'm ready to fight. But moving on, Anderson Silva's reacting to Jon Jones and Conor McGregor's outside the cage issues. The Spider, the greatest middleweight champion in UFC history, considers Jones like a young brother and gives him a piece of advice as the former light heavyweight king attempts to prove his innocence in the latest doping case. I am his close friend, talking about Jon Jones. I have a big affection to him. I see him as a younger brother, and I hope this moment he's going through is a moment of reflection. He's young and he has everything it takes to come back and reclaim what's his. I'm rooting for him as always. He's an amazing guy, a guy that has been through several difficulties, several problems, and he deserves our respect. And, I mean, I see what he's saying, but both of these guys have went through similar issues, so you could kind of see why he would, you know, be giving Jon the benefit of the doubt. Because in Anderson Silva's case, he was innocent. He failed, like Jon Jones. Dick pills was the first time, and then he failed a second drug test, and people kind of wrote him off. But now Anderson Silva has proven his innocence. Contaminated supplement, he's back, and so you know, one of his close friends, little brother Jon Jones, he's hoping for the same thing as him as well. He's just hoping for the best. Can't be mad at that. What do you expect? He's good friends with Jon Jones. You think he's just going to come out here and shit on him? Like, yeah, Jon's fucked. Like, no, that's one of his good friends. Or he looks at him as a little brother. But as far as Conor McGregor, the former two-division champion who hasn't fought inside the 8-sided cage since Eddie Alvarez in November of 2016, holy shit, going on 2 years, this is what he had to say. man, I think that not only me, but other athletes that worked really hard to turn this sport into a sport watched by kids, ladies, women, and men, people from all ages and social classes. And it's complicated when this kind of thing happens, but who am I to be the judge? It's something that must come from each person. Athletes have this conscious. Everybody has problems. Everybody goes through situations. And I hope he realizes how much he means to so many people and doesn't do something like that again and ends up tarnishing a bit of what he worked for in this sport. And that's a good point as well. I mean, this is a sport that is now, I mean, with Ronda Rousey and a lot of the recent, there's grandmas, there's kids, there's all type of different ages, age groups, genders, I mean, that watch this sport. I mean, and whenever you got guys that are coming out here and doing all these things, the face of your sport, throwing fucking dollies through windows and all of these different confrontations and stuff outside the sport, then it kind of damages what so many fighters have been working for. You know, fighters have been trying to turn this from cage fighting, or people call it like human fucking cockfighting, or whatever people call it. They're trying to make it looked at like a legitimate sport. They've worked all this time to make it look like we're respectable people. We can control ourselves outside the octagon. We aren't just scumbags who got into an octagon because we like fighting, and so now we get paid to do it. They did an amazing job turning it into what looked like a sport. And now it's like we're going against that. But it's not just Conor McGregor. I mean, you could put a little bit of the blame on the UFC as well when they're doing anything that you look at like a business decision instead of a sport decision. You can kind of say that's part of the UFC, you know, because whenever they're putting CM Punk on the pay-per-view, whenever Brock Lesnar's coming back off of a drug suspension to fight for the title, all of these things, or whenever even Brock Lesnar comes into the octagon pushing Daniel Cormier across the stage, a lot of that is taken away, in my mind, from the sport aspect of it. But it is what it is. I'm looking at it, and I know that's not how you should as a fan, but I look at this like a fucking business. You know what I'm saying? And that's because, as a hardcore fan, that's the excuse I always get. Whenever I ask the hardcore fan questions, how come TJ Dillashaw's not getting his fucking title shot back? How come CM Punk's on the pay-per-view? How come Brock Lesnar gets to come back after failing a drug test? The answer always is because it's a fucking business. So now, as a hardcore fan, you have to look at all of these decisions like, it's probably a business decision. And when the UFC is making business decisions, you can imagine it's going to trickle down to the fighters. The fighters are now making business decisions. I'm not going to fight here, but I will fight next week because it makes the most decisions. So, I mean, it is what it is. But I definitely wouldn't put all that blame on Conor McGregor just because he's one fucking person. You know, 5 years ago, he probably couldn't imagine where he was going to be today, fighting Floyd Mayweather for $100 million, having all of this money, being the biggest name in the sport. He didn't probably see that coming. So when you're somebody that was fucking eating blueberries on welfare, and then 5 years later, you're the biggest name in the sport, you might act out a little bit. You might party a couple of times, and it's going to get blown out of proportion because now you're the biggest name in the sport. So, yeah, Conor McGregor might act out. Even John Jones. But it's not just John Jones and Conor McGregor. That's really any sport where you look at guys that went from absolutely nothing and then, they become overnight sensations, or they fucking get rich and they didn't build the discipline or whatever it takes, they didn't take the long road, then they don't necessarily know, they don't act accordingly all the time. Sometimes they fucking act out. They're still partying. They're wilding out. They might be on fucking jacked up on Mountain Dew. They might be doing something, but that's just like a that's a human thing. You know what I'm saying? And not every human goes through that, but that's not just a Conor McGregor thing in my mind. But yeah, man, Silva's commented on his little brother John Jones and also Conor McGregor. But speaking of John Jones, we got Daniel Cormier roasting Alexander Gustafsson after that UFC 227 pullout. Gustafsson's team has responded. Now, Daniel Cormier went in for a lot of people. A lot of people, I feel like they wanted me to say Alexander Gustafsson was ducking as well. But maybe that's something that I'll do in the future if I feel like that's what's best. But I don't think that is right now. But like I said, it's hard for me to say a fighter's ducking. But Gustafsson came out and he got lit up by Cormier. Cormier took to Instagram as soon as we found out about that injury. And this is what he had to say. Dear Alex, I don't know what happened to you going back to the Rockhold situation. You've always been a stand-up guy, but your behavior changed. From calling a guy out the day after he got knocked out to now offering to fight me, knowing I have a broken hand after Vulcan couldn't go. Now I got to stop right there for a second. Knowing I have a broken hand, weren't you just talking about fighting Shogun, knowing you have a broken hand? This is one of those situations. Like, DC's getting the benefit of the doubt here. But his hands are not completely clean here. He's talked about fighting Shogun. Now the Shogun lost, he's not talking about fighting none of these guys. On top of that, he's talking about, oh, you wanted to fight me and I'm injured. It's like, no, you said you wanted to fight. It's like, why would you fight Shogun and not the #1 contender? So DC's hands are definitely not all the way clean here. But he continued to say, now you've turned down Jan, you've turned down Khalil, all while calling for a heavyweight title fight. Now, moments after Anthony Smith does his work like an animal, you decide you're hurt. Man, I respect you as a fighter, and I always will be great for October 2015, but you and I won't share the octagon again. I'm disappointed in who you've become. You are so entitled, man. I can't deal with delusional people. Good luck recovering. Our time has passed. See you from the commentary table. DC. And as far as DC not being able to deal with delusional people, I mean, he's dealt with John Jones plenty of times, so I don't know if that's the case either. No, but jokes aside, but I mean, also, yeah, Gustafsson's not fighting Smith, but you know who else isn't fighting Anthony Smith? Daniel Cormier. You're literally, neither one of you are fighting Anthony Smith, and you're calling him out for it. But if Shogun would have won, we might have been hearing about Cormier talking about, oh, you know, I've always wanted to fight Shogun. You know, he's a legend of the sport. You know, he's a guy that, he's a new matchup. He's a guy, you know, we might do better business. You know, if Shogun would have won, why do I have a feeling Daniel Cormier would have been looking for a Shogun fight? Oh, I'll tell you why. Because he said it. He said if Shogun wins, I want to fight Shogun. You didn't say if Shogun wins, I would like to fight him, but my hands are broke. What are you talking about? So I'm a fan of DC. I always have been, a lot more than other people, even before everyone else came along. But his hands are not all the way clean in this situation. So Team Gustafsson, I believe they've responded. This is what they had to say. Doctors pulled Alex from the card last Friday, days before Anthony was able to compete. Before that, we were trying to stay on the card, assuming we would get cleared. We were prepared to face anyone. We assumed it would be Roundtree as he was ready to fight, and we were told Jan would fight at another time. We also offered to fight DC at heavyweight if he was healthy. So Alex was prepared to face anyone, ranked or unranked, but the doctor said he was unfit to compete. It was determined last Friday he would not be on the card, days before the Smith contest. And that's another situation. It's like, well, goddamn. Why didn't we hear that? Why was that on the low? You know, why didn't no one tell us Gustafsson was injured last Friday? Why didn't fucking Gustafsson or his team come out when they got the news and say, oh, the doctors just said we can't fight at UFC 227? Why didn't they? So that's not on, it's a whole real shitty situation here. Because it's like, Gustafsson, we didn't know he was pulling out of the fight, even though they found out Friday, according to the team. So that's why a lot of people feel like he was ducking, because if you found this out Friday, how come we didn't hear about this Friday? So some people feel like he's ducking this situation, but at the same time, DC, he's got some questions to answer. So nobody's hands are clean here. It's a whole weird situation. I mean, you can feel however you want to feel. I don't think we're going to convince you any way different. There's some people that feel like Gustafsson's ducking. There's some people that feel like Cormier's ducking. I mean, not even Anthony Smith. Some people feel like Daniel Cormier is ducking Stipe Miocic. It's like, okay, so if you're not going to defend your light heavyweight title against Shogun now while we wait on Brock, what's Daniel Cormier going to do in the meantime? Nothing? Wait on Brock? Well, then it's like, how were you willing to fight Shogun but nobody else? Come on, man. So I fuck with Daniel Cormier, but I mean, he himself is a guy that seems to be doing what everyone else is doing, trying to get the biggest payday possible. None of these guys are ducking. None of these guys are fucking scared of other fighters. That's how they got to the top of the UFC, by kicking all type of ass, not by ducking fighters. And for Gustafsson, that's 3 separate fighters you're saying he's ducking. You're saying he's ducking Roundtree, Jan Blachowicz, Anthony Smith? What are you fucking saying? Gustafsson has chopped liver? Are you saying Gustafsson... What the fuck? He's fought John Jones in the past. He's fought Gustafsson. He arguably looked better against both of them than anybody has to date. He fucking... coming off that very impressive win over Glover Teixeira, but he hasn't been super active. So now that's because Gustafsson hasn't been super active. So what, is that fucking right to say he's ducking everybody? I don't know if that's the case, man. So it is what it is. And then especially to come from DC. DC versus Anthony Smith, said Trae Young. That's exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. You said you were going to fight Shogun. Now we see Gustafsson's not fighting Smith. So you know what it would be a good time for DC to do? Look, Gustafsson, let me show you how it's done. I don't know what happened to you, but I'm not going to fight you. But since you don't want to fight Anthony Smith and get this division moving, I will. I was going to fight Shogun anyway. So now, how about I fucking fight Anthony Smith? Since you want to do that, I'm not going to fight you, Gustafsson. I feel like you've changed. But I will fight Anthony Smith since he was able to beat Shogun. But DC ain't coming out and saying that. Another situation we can look at with the people saying this is happening a lot. You'll see people accusing another fighter of ducking, and in the meantime, they're not taking a fight themselves. Darren Till came out and said Tyron Woodley was ducking him. Oh, Tyron Woodley, take the fight. Accept the fight, mate. Well, when Tyron Woodley's not taking the fight, what are you going to do? Are you going to show him how it's done and take a fight, or are you going to wait on him? Darren Till could fight Kamaru Usman. Usman was like, hey, what's up? Darren Till, you want to fight for the title? He's not ready? Well, you just told me you're ready to fight. Let's go. And now it's real quiet. Now it's real quiet. So Daniel Cormier can accuse Gustafsson of ducking. Darren Till can accuse Woodley of ducking. But no one pays attention to the big-ass fact that neither one of you were fighting in the meantime. So you guys are just not ducking, just waiting. Nick Diaz came out. He's a guy that called out fucking 10 different title shots. I'll fight any champion at any weight class, Daniel Cormier. You didn't fight Silva like me, motherfucker. I'll fight. How about you give me the title shot instead of Dick Chest Brock Lesnar? Well, Tyron Woodley just needed an opponent. What happened? I'm just saying, man. I don't know. I fucking hate when that narrative gets thrown around that these guys are ducking it, because a lot of the time that's not the case. Literally 9 out of 10 of the times, they're not ducking. There's a few cases where fighters might actually be ducking, but it's pretty actually rare when the best fighter in the world is ducking someone. Usually they're not ducking a fighter, they're ducking for a payday, and that's usually the case. Dana White drops more than $1 million on his son's 16th birthday party. I don't even know where to go with this topic, but I have seen this headline in multiple places. I've seen some clips from the party. It was live. It was lit. It's how everybody would want their fucking 16th birthday party to be if their dad was some fucking billionaire, gajillionaire, right? But this is the thing. Dana White, he's a millionaire for sure. He's got a lot of money. But it's just always interesting to see how lavish he lives sometimes compared to the fighters. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a UFC champion that probably hasn't had a damn $1 million birthday party. You know, but like the president's son, like, it's like, this makes it look like Dana White's son has more money than Demetrius Johnson. And I know that's not the case, but what I'm saying is DJ's like, man, can I get $1 million to fight for the fucking title? It's like, no, but I can spend $1 million on my son's birthday. You know, so that's just why it's funny to me. Throat's getting a little dry. We've been on this motherfucker for a while, but yeah, it was definitely a dope-ass party. But on top of $1 million at his son's party, Dana White's got like fucking 3 separate mansions, I believe, in Las Vegas. Like Mansion A, the party mansion, like Mansion B, the business mansion, Mansion C, off limits. I don't know. Dana White is balling out of control. And that's, you know, that's kind of what makes me kind of lean toward like the fighter side. Like if I'm trying to be unbiased, you know, because I do feel like the fighters are the most underpaid athletes on the planet. But to be fair, we don't know all of the UFC's business expenses. We don't know how much it costs to run the show. We don't know how much in salaries they're paying. We don't know near enough information to know who's getting their fair share. So that's why I try and stay out of it. But then you see shit like this, you know, Dana White bought a new mansion in Vegas. Dana White, $1 million on his son's birthday party. Motherfucking boom, boom, boom. All of this stuff, it's like, God damn, bro, it must be nice. And I'm sure it is. Dana White worked to get here, right? You know, that's all the millionaires and people tell you, rich people, like, man, just fucking buckle up your bootstraps and one day you'll be spending $1 million on your son's birthday party. No, the fuck you're not. We're not going to get this opportunity. And one thing is, I'm not going to go too far into Dana White, but I mean, as far as hard work is concerned, he definitely helped turn the UFC into what it is today. But I think it's arguable to say that the type of work he's doing isn't the same type of physical labor, as the fighter. But I mean, that's just a side note, side conversation. But on top of that, Brendan Schaub just came out and said, and I don't like just going off what someone said, but this has been said by other people. Dana White kind of was helped out by the Fertittas. If it weren't for the Fertittas, maybe Dana White wouldn't be Dana White. Who knows? So maybe Dana White kind of just got to be the face of this successful company, and now he gets to reap the benefits as well. But it is what it is. Full-time still alive. Dana's supposed to be a billionaire now. Yeah, Dana should be a billionaire. The fighters should be millionaires and shit. We should all be thousandaires. But it is what it is. Life ain't fair. So, I mean, motherfucking just a little, something that clearly the media found interesting because this wasn't just on one website. So I was like, hey, let's talk about it. Fuck it. I'm not the type of dude to just sit around and hate on some 16-year-old's party or even some millionaire spending their money. I wasn't even going to talk about this subject, but I've seen it on multiple fucking websites. I'm like, oh, I guess it's a big deal. But yeah, Dana White dropped $1 million on his son's birthday party. I ain't mad. I ain't hating shit. If I had hella money, I would be trying to ball out for my son too. If I had $400 million, of course I would spend a fucking $1 million on my son. That's nothing to me. I'd probably do it for my fucking nephew. But I ain't got that type of money. But it's still kind of dope, though. Dana White cares about his son. You know what I'm saying? At least, well, I don't know if that's the case. Maybe just spending money. But it is what it is. Dope-ass party. There were some clips of it. Not gonna lie, it would have been dope to be there. Like, with the adults. 27. I wouldn't just want to be at some fucking 16-year-old party. You know what I'm saying? But, I think Dana was there. I'd like to be maybe with the fucking adults. Anywhere where there's $1 million spent at a party, I guarantee you there's an adult section. You know what I'm saying? There's probably going to be alcoholic beverages. That ain't for the kids. But, dope-ass party. I'm sure that shit was lit. Big bucks, no whammy, says Yoza L. And by the way, thank you for the $2. If I didn't say that already, now and later for the $2 super chat. Much appreciated. Let's see, that weird guy said Dana is, bruh. He got over $600 million in the bank, boss, man. Yeah, man. Hell yeah. Spend that cash. Hell yeah, the Fertittas helped him, but he still built an empire. That was some party, dog. What, were you there? That would be dope. Yeah, that was a crazy ass party. If you saw some of the, like, I don't know if it was his son. Somebody was like diving off of some shit into the pool, like off the roof. I don't know, some craziness. It was live. It was lit. It was definitely a dope ass party. Alexander Gustafsson officially out of UFC 227 with a minor injury. We talked about that already a little bit. So, yeah, man, this was not the most organized stream. All of these, normally I'll at least try to put the news clips together, but we had to cover a couple of events. We went into our Dr. Phil shit. We've been just talking, man, and it's dope to see we still got 26 people watching. So I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll probably be going an hour earlier because the fights are on the Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. Nick Newell's going to be fighting, so it might be one of the bigger shows. I haven't watched all of the Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, unfortunately, but I've definitely watched all the bigger ones. The one with Antonina Shevchenko, Greg Hardy, Nick Newell. But, check this out, full-time family. We might be interviewing another pro fighter, and this guy 100% should be in the UFC, no cap. This guy, Chris Curtis, knocked out Sean Lowley on the very first episode of Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. It was one of the best knockouts on the card, if not the best knockout. I believe it was a spinning heel kick, knocked the dude clean out. Clean-ass knockout. I thought he was for sure getting the contract. But then another guy got like an 8-second knockout. And it was like, oh, well, that was like the fastest knockout in Contender Series history. So I was like, okay, maybe they both get the contract. But then, of course, Greg Hardy was the main event. He got another fast knockout. So Dana White only gave out 2 contracts, which is kind of bullshit because in like every other episode he's been giving out like 3 and 4, like 4 contracts. What the fuck is this show even for? Like you have 5 fights on the night. They're trying to have the best performance, and at first it was like one person gets the contract, and if you're lucky, 2. But now there's so many fighters and good performances. It's like fuck it, we're taking everybody tonight. We'll take 4 of them. We're taking this guy, and we're taking this guy. Like 4 contracts are being given out. So that very first night, Chris Curtis had a very spectacular knockout. got skipped for the contract, didn't get the contract. The contract went to Greg Hardy. And check this out. Greg Hardy didn't even get to the UFC. That was one of those situations where it's like, if you win the contract, your next fight's in the UFC. So whenever Greg Hardy won the contract, that was supposed to be why Chris Curtis lost his opportunity. Because, oh, sorry, we already gave out 2 contracts on this episode. But now it looks like they only gave out 1 contract because Greg Hardy's contract didn't even get him to the UFC. Now Greg Hardy's coming back to another Contender Series episode. It's like, what? So Chris Curtis, if he would have got the contract, and if you watch the Contender Series, you know this. Even if you get a spectacular performance but you don't get the contract, that's how you get back to the show. So someone like Chris Curtis, it's like, sorry, you didn't get the contract tonight, but we're going to have you back on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. And if you can do this again, you're in. No questions about it. If you can do it twice, you're in. But it turns out the guy that actually got the contract, Greg Hardy, is the one that's coming back to the show. So it's kind of like Chris Curtis kind of got, fucked over a little bit in that situation. Spectacular knockout. Didn't get the contract. Went to Greg Hardy, who still didn't go to the UFC. So, but how I might be interviewing Chris Curtis is because kind of like how I got that interview with Sean O'Malley. I was doing a video on the Contender Series. I reacted to his knockout, and he was like, yo, dope video. And I was like, yo, is this the Chris Curtis from the actual fight? And he was like, yeah, man, something, And I was like, hey, I would like to do an interview, I don't even know how I said it, just some casual ass shit like, hey, I'd like to do an interview with you, fucking, this is my new channel or something. I hit him up on Twitter. I just started this channel like a year ago. I'd like to do an interview. You responded to one of my videos. Something along the lines of that. I don't fucking know because it was casual as fuck. I don't got something made up every time I message a fighter. I just say, hey, what's up? And he responded like, yeah, man, I'd love to do an interview. So we might be interviewing Chris Curtis sometime soon. That'd be dope. But with that being said, we will be back tomorrow. Later, everybody. Gary Kendrick Jr., Stamina MC. Before we get out of here, you motherfuckers, not broke. I'm not talking to the broke people. I'm talking to the middle class people and the motherfuckers that got a little bit of something. If you ain't struggling, all I'm saying is for the next 3 days, Yank My Dandy Doodle will match every donation made to the GoFundMe that's going to help us get our new studio and become even that much better as a channel. So don't act like you fuck with me if you're something. No, I'm just kidding. But I was going to say, if you're a motherfucking somebody that's got it to give, it's just a huge opportunity right now. But if not, if all 25 motherfuckers watching this are as broke as me, ignore everything I'm saying. But for the people that do have it, man, if you fuck with the channel, don't treat me like your side hoe. You know what I'm saying? Just fuck with your boy. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. Who knows? Next year we're probably going to be fucking live streaming from fucking the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas. I don't know. Maybe not next year, 2 years. But we'll be back tomorrow. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments.